Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. You need me like you need air to breathe. You want me to save you from me. I know that you're trapped inside this wave. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna save you from me? I can't see you drown. 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 Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. It's a toxic addiction. You're a guilty affliction. Yeah. I can't breathe. I need to get some air, but it's a toxic addiction. You're a guilty affliction. Yeah. You can't breathe and you just need some air. Yeah. Give me all of your lies, 'cause you're my demon in disguise. I learned to love the cage you keep me in, but the walls keep closing in, and I don't wanna die, but your poison feels so right. Why do I want you when you're bad for me? My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe. My perfect storm, my beautiful catastrophe.
No more talking about it. The way it is, the way it is. It's no mystery. There's no getting around it. When you're here, we got chemistry. We light up when we ignite. We are stars in a darkened sky. When you leave, don't forget to remember. Don't forget to remember me. When you leave, don't forget to remember. Don't forget to remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Xenon Gaming Series Season 3. I believe this is Week 4, if I'm not mistaken. And we've got a couple of matches for you guys tonight. This first one coming up pretty quickly here, as we are running a little bit behind, is Homeland Academy versus Project Madness. Joining me today is not Crisis, it is Hunk. Hunk, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well myself. How about you?
I'm having a great day, man, and it's definitely good to be back here casting some more Siege, especially joined by, if I remember correctly, you are a part of HNC, so it's good to have some of that in-game knowledge joining me here on the desk today.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I'm gonna put my input in, obviously, here and there, but I want to see how these teams play, definitely, considering that it is Project Madness and Homeland Academy. Project Madness obviously has some history within this league, being probably the best team this league has ever seen. Two-time back-to-back champions in Season 1 and Season 2. But we got some new faces, Homeland Academy. It's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be able to do against the two-time champs this night.
Yeah, Homeland Academy has been making a little bit of a run for themselves here in the last couple of play days. They brought themselves up to a contention spot for these playoffs that are coming up very, very quickly. And so this is definitely a very important match for them just to get themselves over that hurdle and into the playoffs, confirming that spot for themselves. We do have the map bands ready to go for us. So if we can get those up on the screen, we'll be able to figure out where we're going for this map number 1. It is going to be Oregon. Okay, so it's an old classic, and I think this is there's no place I'd rather be than a map as classic as Oregon when you look at a team like Homeland Academy against a very established team like Project Madness. Just being able to truly benchmark their skill against each other. Neither team can really walk out of this match and say, oh, well, we just weren't comfortable on that map because it's Oregon. Everyone should know how to play Oregon.
For sure, Oregon has gotten a nickname over the years. Some people call it Borregon, and I cannot blame them for that. This map has been played out. It's been played a lot. A lot of people should know how to play it, and if you don't, then you must be very new to the game. But yeah, it's as you said, it's going to be quite a battle here with an established team such as Project Madness. So we're going to be able to see an even playing field here, especially on this map, and we'll see if Homeland can pull it off or if Project Madness will cement their spot as one of the best.
Yeah, I think it's also important to note that Project Madness has not secured themselves their own spot in the playoffs just yet. So winning this game should, if my math is correct, it should secure them that spot in the playoffs. But they do still have to win this game, or at least get some amount of points out of it to stay a lot better into the running for this top 4 in their division. So both teams still have something to play for here. So neither team really can hide anything if they want to, and especially since Project Madness is currently not the top-rated team in their group. That going, of course, over to Superlight, who's put on a monstrous performance this season. They definitely have a little bit more to prove than they have in the previous seasons.
Oh, for sure. Definitely having a new team come in and take their throne. That's definitely not a good look on Project Madness. Definitely a good look on Superlight. I mean, Superlight have been the dominant team inside of Project Madness's division. So I want to see if Project Madness will be able to actually be able to pull it off and continue to hold their crown as the best. So we're going to be able to see what they can do against Homeland. Hopefully, they can start moving into securing their spot and defending that title in these playoffs.
Yeah, I do believe we're about ready to get headed into the match here, so it shouldn't be too long before we actually see Oregon pop up on the screens. There's a little bit of theory crafting we can do, though, at least before that happens. Just considering the operators that it can be banned out here. Obviously, being Oregon, it's played out to death. As I've gotten word, we are ready to start the game, so we're not going to have to talk too much about hypotheticals for this as we get ready to go there. But there is a little bit of variety that you can ban on the attacking and defensive sides here. I think the most notable operator that gets a little overbanned is just that Mira. A little bit overbanned, in my opinion. There's not too many spots where the Mira window gives you more value than you're already setting up for. I think the classic example I like to use is with this basement site, right? Everyone sets it up as though they're already playing the Mira, so how much more value do you get by actually bringing the Mira? The actual bans coming through, though, the first one's going to be Flores. Definitely a very good ban on this map. A very powerful operator being able to remove pre-play setups, as well as the Thatcher, just the old staple of the bans.
Yeah, not much surprise. I mean, I was expecting a Flores ban, especially on a map like this. This map being very shield heavy, I wouldn't be surprised as well to see a Womai ban and all, a Warden ban actually coming in. That one is definitely interesting. Gets rid of one of those shields and the ability to see through the smokes and the flashes. But I think Homeland got a plan for this. Banning out that Warden, Ying's not banned. Ying has been seeing more and more bans on Oregon, especially since the popularity of pushing big window has been the new meta for attacking the top floor site. So I want to see if Homeland will actually use the Ying to their advantage now that the Warden is off the board. Uh, I mean, will mine Jaeger still being up though? I think that might actually deter because well, my band did not come out, so it's going to be definitely a deterrent for sure for Homeland to actually use the Ying in this round of play.
Yeah, the Wamai and Jaeger being up, I think, really diminishes the value you can get specifically upstairs on the site we're going to right now. But when you get down to the basement, it doesn't really matter where the flashbang goes off if it gets grabbed in a Wamai disc. As long as it does, you typically are able to get the space off of it. But when you're talking upstairs here, you need that timing to be able to get in big window if that's the take you want. So yeah, it makes a little bit of sense to not see her this round. What on earth is that? Project Madness pulling out some very old setups here from way back when this map got first reworked. A walk-in extension was something that was popularized out in APAC North when the map got reworked, and haven't seen it in a while here. So it's going to be cool to see that strategy make its return here for Xenon.
I think this is definitely going to be what Madness wants to do. They want to play a little bit more aggressive, as we saw last week in their play against, I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't remember who they were playing against, but they go for heavy extensions, and then they'll waste time as much as possible and get many drones as much utility waste onto them, just for them to fall back and try to keep as many people alive on site as possible, just waiting for that execute. So it's definitely normal to see Madness pulling this type of strategy out, obviously copying it from APAC, but as Lucas does get lit up a little bit on the outside entrance by Xer, not much is really going on here. Lucas is just trying to see if he could get a pick as Butcher and Toaster start making their way back from the small tower side. Nothing really too out of the ordinary here from both teams. However, actually, something very out of the ordinary. Xer goes down 50 seconds into the round. That's a body lost almost immediately just due to a grenade. Nice nade by Mute, however.
Yeah, mute nading the actual operator mute, of course, a little ironic there. But yeah, when you're playing out in Armory, there is a huge risk reward when a team does go for this pretty traditional style of attack, this master attic take. They're going to be looking to clear attic, and it's just a beautiful use of utility there from the side of Homeland Academy to be able to clear that space out and get themselves all the way up to this trophy space where you see the Thermite playing around now. Of course, Thermite doesn't have to open the wall because Project Madness opened it themselves, potentially trying to leverage that as it was just an extra angle for them to be able to push through here as Lucas is on this big window as well. So these pieces starting to fall in place for Homeland Academy. They've got all of the posturing that they need done. They just are doing a little bit of extra droning and trying to get those players up attic. Speaking of that extra posturing, Lucas is able to pick up Butcher as he rotates up the white stairs. These players are starting to make their move down the attic funnel there. Gunrider trying to just get a lay of the land here. He's not used to playing around with this wall being open, but Juicy gets one for his team before Lucas, Mute, and Harbor just completely collapse down on the site, picking up 3 people in a flurry of about 2 to 3 seconds there, just completely dismantling everything Project Madness had in their pockets, just completely throwing that out the window because Homeland Academy shows that they know how to break this site.
I like the word they use there, dismantling, and that is exactly what they did. The minute they picked up that Mute frag grenade kill inside of Armory, that's when they just started walking in. The minute they get that, the Thermite's walking inside of Master because he's free to walk in, and then just slowly but surely collapsing in onto the defense, choking them out, forcing them into positions that they're going to have to take ones. And in order to get out of those situations, but with Homeland actually being able to win those ones and killing all of Madness's attempts of trying to be aggressive. That was perfect play from Homeland. Exactly what I like to see, especially as a leadership standpoint of just, as you said, the pieces falling in place perfectly and coming out with a very convincing round win as we go down to the basement site because Madness do not want to attempt that upstairs site again for right now.
Yeah, playing a site twice in a row typically feels bad unless you're very confident that you know what the problem was and how to fix it. But yeah, I do agree with like a lot of the things you're saying. It feels really good to see a team like Homeland Academy in this like T3 space understand and communicate and work well enough together that there was never a point in that round where I had to question what they were doing or why they were pushing things. They all knew their job. They knew why they were doing it, and it's a beautiful siege to see out of them. And there is an operator that makes an appearance in this round that we've been talking about a little bit. It's that Ying, that operator that you were talking about. Well, Warden's been banned out. Wamai's still up, but he's not brought in this round. So Ying gets a little bit of extra value that maybe we thought she wouldn't have here.
Oh, no, for sure. I figured the Ying, if she wasn't banned, she would have brought one of these times, and I'm glad that she was brought on the basement site because, as you said, I mean, even if it gets caught with a Womai disc, you're definitely getting flashbang with a new flashbang rework that Ubisoft graciously put out. Now flashbangs actually do work. A little too effective, in my opinion. But I'd like to be able to flash a room and not have someone staring at that flashbang and then shotgunning me right in the face as I walk in. So it's going to be fun to see what they're going to be doing with this Ying as Gunrider lights up Butcher. Butcher going for a wild swing out into the main lobby. He's feeling extra confident tonight, but I mean, he just immediately runs back downstairs and barricades that door saying, no, I'm not fighting this one. I'm not fighting you today. I'm just going to go play safe.
This is one of the, I think, the typical trends that Project Madness likes to go for, is they're really good at applying phantom pressure. Butcher was never really in a position there to get a kill, but he shoots a drone and he lets them know he's there, and he just falls back down into the site. And now Homeland Academy has to constantly be worried about Butcher being in that position. You see them taking extra time there to drone Lucas down main stairs off the corner of your screen. That's just little things that you don't have to do if the other team isn't getting in your face about it. They burnt 2 minutes, and they had a very light roam upstairs that pretty much fell back by the 30 to 40 second mark here. So they're really good at making pressure for themselves when they're not there and getting this extra time on the board. As we see this laundry main take start to take form, as Lucas is starting to dump his utility down onto this highway player. This player is a Project Madness, though. Butcher does not want to be stopped. The Yin Candela is coming out just to push him away from the staircase so they can try to work their way down here, as Homeland's got under a minute now to make this push work. The Tachanka utility starting to come out. Juicy holding on to 3 smoke canisters here as well, but it's Fizzify to get a second opening kill for his team through a nade, but Toaster is going to be able to answer it back this time, so neither team really coming away with a solid advantage other than Project Madness running down the clock even further.
As you said, Project Madness doing exactly what they want to do. They just want to apply phantom pressure. They're waiting until the last few seconds, and it's perfect. It's perfect, exactly what they want to do right now. 19 seconds left on the clock, 4 people still left alive. Homeland are barely making a move, and I say that Caster Curse comes in, Gunrider going for the plant, the smoke comes off as Lucas kills Toaster as he tries to go for a swing. Diffuser does go down as Gunrider goes inside the closet and picks up 2 kills with a bearing 9. I mean, Project Madness for sure played exactly what they wanted to play, but Homeland again just reading into it almost perfectly again.
Yeah,
I'm seeing a trend here. Homeland are reading perfectly into Project Madness' setups. They apply a little bit of pressure, they get you a little scared, keep you on your toes, and they just want to whittle down the clock. And Homeland aren't falling for it. Yeah, you said they burned down a few minutes, but once they knew that they had the ability to take site, they just took it, and Madness couldn't do much about it.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like they say at the House Siege is just a game of milliseconds or small decisions there, and it was just a small lapse in visibility there. Gunrider ran up to the plant spot there, like with that tucked corner up onto the mirror closet, without any utility being thrown. The smokes and everything came after he was already starting to plant. So Project Madness just not getting a good enough grip on the pulse of what Homeland Academy is gearing up to do, or maybe they just weren't. There's a small lapse of judgment. You look away from an angle and the guy runs past it and gets ready to start planting there. Either way, though, Homeland Academy is playing this incredibly well. So I don't know what's happening here, though, man. It seems like there's a little bit of a phantom wall going on. That's very interesting. It looks like we might get a rehouse on that. I've never seen that bug before. I like that one. Hopefully that doesn't happen in ranked.
Oh, that's definitely a bug that you don't want to experience on the side of Madness. I mean, yeah, it sucks. But I mean, Homeland reading perfectly in, and they're getting some momentum. This might be a turning tide. It might not be. Homeland might be able to just keep on bringing this back. But bugs like that do happen. This is Siege after all. Everyone knows bugs happen, and it happens in pretty much every game. It doesn't matter what game you play. So it's a bit unfortunate indeed that did have to happen. But I just want to talk a little bit more about Homeland right now because they're really impressing me with the way they're playing their Siege game.
Yeah, I think rightfully so too. They're playing very lights out, and I think something that I can give them credit for confidently that I can't give a lot of other teams, at least in this game, they're using their utility very effectively. Those Yin Candelas just being able to understand that you should just use your utility to clear out space here, and having the coordination communication between the people droning and the people who have the utility, starting both rounds off with a frag grenade pick is a very good look for the first 2 rounds, in my opinion.
Again, that utility work is masterful coming out from Homeland. As you said, just using that utility to clear space, using a frag grenade, using a Yin Candela, maybe even using a smoke grenade. perfect utility usage comes from the side of Homeland as we get back into the game, luckily enough. Not much of a rehost, not too long of a rehost. Apparently, everyone was just spamming their Shift F2 key, just trying to wait for that invite. Getting
Yeah.
right into this as soon as possible. And it looks like we're going back down to the basement. Obviously, we have to because of the rehost rules. And another yank being brought out. I don't like to make predictions, but I have a feeling that this round is going to go very similar, if not a little bit smoother for Homeland.
Yeah, I really hope that you're wrong on that prediction just because we know how good of a team Project Madness can be. And one of the defining characteristics of a good team in Rainbow Six is that you have to be able to understand what your opponent is doing and make suitable, tangible changes around it. Otherwise, you're just going to be running into insanity. You're doing the same thing over and over again, just praying that it's a little bit different this time, that maybe the other team messes up, and you don't want to rely on that. You never want your game plan changed to just be, yeah, the other team's going to mess it up this time. They're not going to be as good. So hopefully Project Madness is a good enough team to get themselves back up here and start actually contesting themselves into this game, not just in a mechanical way, as you see Butcher constantly going for those gunfights, but rather in a more team way. I want to see them start communicating a little bit better and trying to get more in the face of Homeland. You know how they attack now. Find ways to get into their face on that and slow them down even further. Get utility thrown out earlier so that when the site execute comes out, you don't have 4 Yin Candelas, 2 smokes, and 6 frag grenades to deal with. You maybe have 1 frag grenade and a smoke, which is significantly more manageable.
Yeah, for sure. As you said, we want to see Project Madness be a little bit more team oriented. Siege is a team game. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can rely on one dude doing a lot of the fragging, but if you're not putting in the effort of communication, droning, information gathering, flank watching, or even on defense, like just wasting time and whatnot, if you're not putting any of that into the team play, then there's no point in even saying, as I say that, Butcher just having an unlucky game, getting killed again really quickly. But as I said, this is a team game, and they obviously found Butcher out just due to the communication and droning, and that's exactly what I like to see from Siege teams in general, just not from Homeland. I mean, if Project Madness starts putting this out, I most likely will be praising them too.
Yeah, it's some very good clearing coming out from Homeland. They're even checking Jaeger on this very tucked corner here. Obviously, he does have a rotate, so it's a little bit more obvious. But they're being very thorough with their time. They're only a minute and 10 down, too, so it's a very good pace being upkept here. And they're up an entire kill. They've actually gotten all 3 opening picks. And now Juicy's in this really weird spot where the attackers know roughly where he is. They know he's on this mid floor, and they kind of get the drone out there. He's able to spray one down through the wall, but he's immediately traded out by Mute. His position is known, and that was a 180-degree pinch coming out from Homeland. So Homeland definitely playing just a tier above right now. Maybe what I even had expectations for them coming into this, just considering their seeding so far in the tournament. This is looking like a team that is not only just playoff readies, but playoff contendable. Like, this is what we expect out of a team that wants to try and strive to be the champions of Xenon.
Okay, I know how how we were talking about using drones, using utility effectively. I just want to point out the fact that Sophia just used a drone to burn an Immunity Gate. Granted, it's a lot better than throwing your body in there, but that's a drone that you could be using for sure. I am hoping to see something come from the side of Project Madness here soon, though. You're down 2 people, and yeah, you did waste a lot of time, but I mean, a whole body being up it means a lot in this game. Anything can happen if you have a body up. You can lose that body, or you can just continue to use that body as a tool as the shield does go down for Xer. I mean, 30 seconds into the round, and you get 30 seconds left to the round, I'm sorry. And he's starting to actually pump out these Tachanka Shimika launchers, and they are going to eat up a lot of time. Toaster with a nice shot on the smoke, and he's just going to continue to use util. This is exactly what we needed to see from Madness, a lot better utility usage as Mute tries to push in, and he does not get the finishing kill. Ty finishes that off. Mute down. Plant is down, however, in a 2v2 situation. Into the closet again goes Fistify, and again, he somehow strikes out. Xer able to pick up that kill as well, but Harbor is going to be sitting in the back of Freezer as he is attempting to go for a rotate. Xer has to go for the diffuser here soon, and he knows it. Will he be able to pull it off? Harbor, he's playing this perfectly. He knows exactly what he needs to do as he starts to go for the diffuse. Swings, and hits his shots. Harbor played it absolutely amazing. Extra did play it as well, insanely good, but Harbor able to pick it up at the end of the day. I'm starting to see Project Madness actually perform a lot better. They're doing exactly what they need to do. They need to start switching it up. They need to be more communicative. They need to use their utility more. They need to stop Homeland from running into the site. I believe that's 2 or 3 plants now gone down on the side of Homeland. And as a defender, that's abhorrently horrible percentage. 100% plant percentage is absolutely horrible if you're a defender. You don't ever want the diffuser to go down as many times.
Yeah, I think they didn't plant the first round, but that's just because they killed everyone as they were going to the plant. But yeah, their plant percentage right now is insanely high. It's more so just their coordination around it. Everyone on Homeland is playing out of their minds right now. They're communicating very effectively, and they're making pushes that, yeah, in that previous round, Project Madness was able to capitalize on a little bit more, but they built space. They let I believe it was Harbor in that round get into that plant spot and get the plant down by just physically moving forward and establishing a line that Project Madness had to contest before they could go fight that planter. We're going back upstairs now as well. So this is the first round we saw out of Project Madness all the way back in round number 1. They've got to repeat it now here because they don't really have a strong tertiary site on this this map in particular. If history serves me correctly, they typically play Kitchen, which is by far and away the worst of the 2 mid-floor sites. So seeing them come back up here, not too surprising if they're not comfortable on a site like Meeting. And then they have changed up at least a little bit here. They brought out the castle to try and make this armory position a little bit more defendable, as well as not starting in that room right now, so that when Mute starts throwing those nades at the floor, there's no one there to collect.
As you said, I like the adaptations that Project Madness are going for. Definitely not putting a person in that room immediately. So, like as you said, Mute just starts chucking those nades, just yeeting them up to the floor, hoping and praying it detonates at the right time and picking up a kill. That's for sure what they need to do. This is adaptation at its finest. Project Madness finally pulling it out. And a little bit of a slow start, but now they finally have someone inside that room. As flashbangs do start to go out, they're going to start trying to clear him out. And the shield gets burned, actually, as soon as possible. Toaster or Butcher, I don't know who it is. It was Ty, actually. Ty has to fall back off that position, but he's going to go for a wild swing, hoping he could pick something up. Nothing much really happens here yet, as Xer is also on that door. I mean, this is what I like to see from Project Madness, just the double up as Xer starts swinging the main stairs. He knows there's someone there. As the creep starts coming up, no damage done to Lucas, but Xer does take a fair amount as the extension does happen, and they fall back to site. Juicy going for a flank here. Will it be successful as he lights up Mute? A little bit of the phantom pressure starting to come in on the side of Homeland. They're going to have to start worrying about their flanks and these positions that Madness will play, as Butcher does get downed and inevitably finished off yet again. Butcher being the entry kill once again, not having the greatest game. Ty losing the fight just basically to LMG lull, as Lucas again just using that LMG, the power that these guns hold. Fistify finishing off with a frag grenade. Juicy going for another wild flank, picks up Harbor, but Harbor immediately just trades it back using his last bullet to claim the life that claimed hits.
This is insanity, man.
It is insanity. Just watching Madness do the same thing over. Sure, they're doing a little bit different. There's some stuff that is going on. You know, some more utility usage, some more playing together. But on the side of Homeland, they're just doing it a lot better. Yeah, and something's got to change.
Yeah, Homeland's really putting on a clinic for just the base fundamentals of Siege, right? Their drone work is immaculate. Their utility usage is also just incredibly powerful right now. And if you're a team that's like trying to figure out where you can improve, this is an incredible thing to watch. Just do what Homeland does in this game. And I'm a little bit surprised that we're not seeing Project Madness shift any of these operators into drone denial. Homeland is so heavily reliant on intel right now that a Mute, a Vigil, a Mozzie could really slow them down and deny their most powerful tool that they're really good at using. These drones have just been insanely lethal. I think almost every nade kill we've seen, and we've seen 4 or 5 of them, has been informed of a position through those drones. So being able to deny that potent intel, I think, is really important for Project Madness to understand. Maybe they just haven't recognized how much Homeland Academy is using their drones so far, but that's definitely something that needs to be denied a little bit more here for Project Madness.
Oh, definitely for sure. I do believe that Madness don't even know that they're getting pinged out through these drones ever since. But
What the
Juicy going for an insane swing. What are you doing? That is the most "why are you running bio" moment I have ever experienced in my life. Just going for an insane play that obviously would never work out, but Butcher actually picks up his kill. Good job, Butcher.
First kill of the game. He's normally like a highlight fragger here for Project Madness, so it's good to see him start to wake up a little bit more as Lucas gets tagged down as well. So a lot of the advantage that Homeland Academy found themselves earlier in the round is starting to disappear, especially now that Lucas has hit the deck as well. Butcher finally living up to his name, being the Butcher of main lobby there, just gunning them down left and right, and he's able to escape as well. So very good play by him, and it's finally given Project Madness the advantage that we really expect them to be able to get. So it's good to see them starting to wake up here a little bit. Yeah, it's a little late. They're down 4 rounds, but it's better late than never. And if there's any team that I trust to make a comeback a reality on a map like Oregon, it's gotta be Project Madness.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Project Madness, it's Oregon. A lot of teams have played this, but the way they're playing it right now is exactly the way they do need to play it. They need to get in their faces. They need to stop them from even attempting to get into the building.
Oh,
and Butcher, he is getting crazy right now. My goodness. I don't even know how to like say this right now. It's just swinging right now. Madness not even caring about utility.
Oh my god.
They're just this is this is the TSM strategy that everyone likes to call out. It's literally Butcher, go kill. And apparently it just decided to work this round. The minute you give Butcher an inch, he'll take a mile. And Madness finally get their round up, not even letting Homeland get into the building and use that utility. Maybe that is exactly what Madness needs. Maybe they just need to rely on individual mechanics rather than team play and utility usage.
Yeah. Sorry, it's just like a nightmare on Big Tower, man. If you ever seen like Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street, he's just always behind you. No matter where you are, Butcher apparently can find a way to get himself behind you there. He took down what, 2 LMG players, a Habana, and someone who was just on the roof. Just some insane gunplay there, and it's what we really expect from Butcher. And I'm really liking this adaptation that he's bringing out here as well. He goes on to that Intel Denier operator that I was talking about, bringing out that Vigil, which should make this roam clear from Homeland just significantly slower due to his existence on the map. He's normally an operator that's seen as a very selfish one, right? If you pick him, you're just playing for yourself as the, ooh, I go invisible. But he really does have a tangible impact on how quickly teams like Homeland Academy can clear out the roam, just because you're always second guessing yourself. You don't know if he's in the room ahead of you or if he's even just a floor below you as those vigil marks propagate upward but not down. It's really weird that they do that, but they do nonetheless. So there's a lot of weird things you can do with that gadget to really just fake your presence in rooms that you were never in.
Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The best roam is the roam that wastes the most time, and Vigil is one of the best roamers that you could ever bring out into this game. Just the ability to be invisible to drones. Yeah, you may have an idea of where he is, but you never know where he exactly is. You could put a drone into a room and you see those white lines. He could be anywhere in that room. He could be, like, let's use this for example. He's sitting inside games. He could be behind the couch, could be behind the fool's gold table, could be on white stairs, could be on the bookshelf. He could be anywhere. He could be hiding in Bolo.
He
Or
goes
he
to
could
the
be
floor
in,
below.
he could be anywhere and everywhere all at the same time, and that's the power of Vigil. He has the ability just to put fear into the hearts of the attacking team, and that's exactly what Project Madness love to do. They love to, as you said, apply that phantom pressure. They'll destroy a drone, maybe get a pick, maybe waste some util, whatever they can do, and then they'll fall back. Okay. The caster curse.
Vigil's already gone. Lion getting his another entry pick here. Lucas having an incredible game so far. And that is now 6 for 6, by the way. Homeland Academy, 6 rounds in a row, getting the opening pick. So they're definitely very good at contesting this match space, but a little bit of a misdrone coming out as Juicy's position isn't known until they redrone it. Homeland Academy understands what they missed. They understand better than anyone what their own flaws are, apparently, and they're correcting them on the fly here. You see Lucas now turning around, and Juicy just kind of hiding out here. He knows he can just live for a little bit longer, and look at the clock starting to dwindle down as well. There's not been really any mid-floor pressure applied. Gunrider only using 2 of those Habana pellets so far, but they do clean up Juicy, and it's not in a very lengthy fashion either. So Juicy falls pretty early on as Ty starts taking these gun duels up the white stairs. So not a lot coming out in that round. A couple of deaths, a little bit of tags coming up. With Finka being as overpowered as she is right now, a lot of the players on Homeland are sitting at full health except for Harbor, who took that tag from the side of Ty there as he worked down main. And we got a minute left on the clock. Exer swinging up very close to the laundry door, denying this entry point that's been so pivotal for Homeland in the past, and it being able to escape all the way back out to highway too. So he's able to continue to use these Tachanka Shimikas when he starts deciding to throw those out here shortly. Mute cooking a frag grenade, trying to contest onto Exer, who's playing that highway space as Harbor gets ready to try and do this Ying flood down Freezer stairs that they've done time and time again. The players stacked up about ready to go here as the clock's hitting down towards 30. The utility from Project Madness needs to start coming out, and that's exactly what Tachanka is doing, denying the Freezer walk-up from as safe of a distance as he can, just slowing these players down even further. Toaster in a much better position than he was previously when he got that incredible one-tap for himself here, and the clock continuing to dwindle away. The Ying Candela is being cooked, coming out, but Exer's up close. He's just getting aggressive with it. Mute trades him out, though, as the plant starts coming through. The flood's happening. Mute builds the space, gets the attention of Toaster on that smoke, and allowing Gunrider to just get the plant down. A down comes out Freezer. That's all the Freezer pressure surrendered to the side of Project Madness. They're now starting to retake all the way up through the mirror window, but there's one on highway. He gets called out. Toaster and Ty now in a 2v1 situation, and the tags coming through. Gunrider's position now known, and a swing from Ty gets a very much needed round here for the side of Project Madness as they start to come back to life.
Picking up the second round in a row on the defensive pass, a 4-2 split, inevitably on the side of Homeland. But this is exactly what Project Madness needed to do. They needed to adapt. So what better way to adapt utility uses by using your guns? And Project Madness has some really good guns when they are awake. And it seems like they're starting to wake up right now as Butcher going on to that Finko role as he's known to do many a time, many a game before. It's going to be interesting to see what Madness can do for the attacking half. Attacks are currently, right now, as of this broadcast, as of this match, as of me speaking right now, attackers are statistically the better side. And it's very rare for attackers to be the better side. It's usually a lot of people call the defenders the best side because, you have a lot of factors as a defender. You have time, you have map, you have a lot of factors in your not in your control, but in your advantage. And it's going to be very interesting to see if Madness can do what I think they're going to do, and they're going to be bringing out a little bit of surprising play as I see a knock on the board as a swap over from Yana. So going from one information gatherer to an information denier, it's going to be interesting to see what Madness can do with this. I believe she's going to be a pivotal moment in Madness's entry into this building, for sure.
Yeah. Project Madness is definitely a team that really likes Nook. They just like what she can bring, and I also think it's a little bit of an answer to the operators that Homeland are bringing. You see them leaning even heavier into utility on the defensive side as well. Valkyrie makes an appearance, normally one of those operators that can be banned out quite frequently, but she's not in this game, so it's good to see her get brought along, just recognizing that that's a route that you can go, and with how heavily Homeland likes to play around this information game, oh my goodness, they call him out on it. Mute finds another opening pick onto Juicy there. Homeland, by the way, now 7 for 7 on opening kills in this game. They've lost 2 rounds, sure, so not winning every round they get the opening pick, but that's an insane margin of error to go for there, as Harbor playing this really weird off angle here as well, but it's going to get called by Butcher as this nade should land right underneath him, and it does pick him up. So Butcher continuing his awakening here, just getting himself back into the game in very, very meaningful ways.
Butcher is activated, and it's definitely starting to show. And what better time than any? You're down multiple rounds, so just start waking up as Ty gets unluckily caught out by Mute on the kitchen mid-floor. Just unlucky on the side of Ty as Toaster tries to find the person hiding inside of the hobo spot. As another person, it looks like it might be another grenade kill here in a minute for Butcher, but no, instead Gunrider reads into it perfectly and takes him down as there's now a 2v4 on the side of Homeland. Homeland playing into this perfectly. They know that they need to lean heavier into the guns, as Project Madness are going to be leaning the heaviest. As Exer does go for a wild swing onto the hobo spot, does not find anyone. Instead, he gets found. Lucas kills Exer. Exer goes down. Toaster, the last man remaining on the big window with the diffuser. He's going to go for a repel, maybe go for a little bit of a rotate as... never mind. It's going to be an unofficial tactical timeout as Project Madness want to talk this out and figure out what's going wrong. I'll tell you what's going wrong, Madness. The utility usage is better on Homeland, and they're just winning a lot more gunfights than you. Exer and Butcher, the only two people actually picking it up and being the carries for this map, and they're not doing insanely well. But I want to look on the side of Homeland real quick. We got Lucas, Mute, and Harbor, all within a kill of each other. Now that is what I like to call team play siege. This is perfect team play on the side of Homeland, and that's the issue that Madness is running into right now, is that their team play is not as good as Homeland, as Fishify finally finishes off Toaster. I mean...
Yeah, no,
it's looking dire.
I do think you had some very good points there. The utility usage from the side of Project Madness just isn't quite there. Remember back to like round 2 or 3, we were talking about how incredible it was that Homeland was genuinely just throwing their utility. It's a really weird thing to think about, but go back and watch your own games. There's a lot of times where people just don't use their utility because everyone wants to wait for that perfect moment, but Homeland Academy is more than willing to just use it there. Even on the defensive side, they were throwing out a bunch of utility, and they're not taking fair gunfights here either, just leaning super heavily into intel. They're bringing another intel op now in the side of Maestro, but they don't want to be taking gunfights where they don't know what's on the other side, and they're getting so much value out of it here, just being able to only take informed gunfights. And it's something beautiful to see, and it's not something a lot of teams go into. I know I personally hate to say this, but I almost want to see Project Madness bring in IQ the next time they go upstairs just to find those Valk cams. Yeah, it's not a great operator to pick because it's her only use, but hey, it's better than being taken advantage of by not knowing where these gunfights are. And we're going to my personal favorite site on the map now. That's Meeting Kitchen. It's a really awkward site to play around, not in like a traditional sense of something like Archive Tellers on oh, it's the map now, Consulate, but it's still a very awkward site. It's a very large site, and it requires you to hold a lot of space on the map very continuously, but in that vein as well, it gives you a lot of space to move around with, and if you can read into what the attackers are trying to do, you can typically find ways to get behind them and just make their life a living nightmare, as we see Project Madness going for a take that I believe your team was the first to show off, HNC, this OSA take on the tower side of the map, being able to cut the map up into little pieces and just apply pressure through those OSA shields that you normally wouldn't be able to get.
I know this take. I know this take
I hope
very well. I know this take very well. I've led this take plenty of times. In fact, it was my teammate Alien who was the creator of this take. Basically, what the plan is you want to get tower control, big tower control, all yours. You want to bring that Maverick along so you can just create a line of sight on that back wall. You know where the OSHA shield's being placed? You want to create a little line of sight right there, just so you can watch the hatch, so no one can go for the swing on it, right? And then you want to put someone downstairs, like Juicy is going right now. You want to put them downstairs just to make sure no flank goes up. Now, here's what you have left, the site. Nothing else really, as a Nitrocell does go out. Now all you have to really worry about is the two angles that are very, very, very easy to contest. The left and right side split door. There's only one way those defenders can actually attempt to be put in here. And Mute very much reading into this perfectly, as he should. I mean, it's unfortunate that he loses, and Juicy does get killed by the flank. Oh no. Homeland are doing the counter that is known for this take, and it's working. Madness obviously haven't put as much practice as we have into this. I'm boosting my own ego maybe a bit much, but I mean, if I'm being honest with you, it's just known. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, hold on.
No, this is their variant of it. They like to get this cheat wall opened as well to try and cut the site in half. This is their answer to players tucking left and right of that main breach there. Because you're not on the hatch, you can't clear those out from above, so they'd like to open up this garage close wall as well, but it's not quite working for them, as we've lost all audio visual there for a moment, as Mute apparently has invaded the studio. Lucas grabs another one for his team. We're back now, as Ty and Xer have so much work left to do, and these are those players that gave up the tower side of the map, that weren't watching those back back tower stairs. They've got a lot of work to find here, and Ty's still just kind of stuck out in big tower. So it's a lot of this work is going to rely on Extra to be able to find anything for his trouble here. But this side of the map is entirely castled off, and when Gunrider kills Ty as well, Homeland Academy are sitting incredibly pretty to go for a flawless round as they completely shut down Project Madness's attempt at a tower take here, just winning this tertiary site traditionally in a very convincing fashion like that, and getting yourself up onto match point this early on, 6-2. They're looking very good here to win the game.
I mean, I'm speechless right now. Your Project Madness 2-time champs. You have a lot of riding on your shoulders, and you're down 6-2 to Homeland Academy, who is playing better than you.
Oh yeah, it's not even close.
I wish I was kidding when I said this. I love the boys on Project Madness. I have talked to them before. I love every single one of them. But the fact that Homeland is playing better than you right now via information, utility usage, teamwork, these are basic Siege fundamentals, and they are playing perfectly. They are doing exactly what they need to do for every single round that they need to win. And that's why all of these rounds haven't even been close. The 2 rounds that Project Madness won, one of them was very dominant, but the other one was also very scrappy, if I do remember correctly. It's just Homeland right now are playing a Siege that I personally like to see, that I like to play. Project Madness are playing a Siege that relies heavily on individual play and individual mechanics, and the guns just haven't woken up. I mean, Butcher 5-5, Xer 6-5, Juicy 2-5, Ty 3-4, Toaster 1-4.
Yeah, it's one of my core tenets of Siege is when you're playing competitive, yeah, you can have as many good days as you want, but you're defined how good of a player you are by how you perform when you're not having a good day. And if your team isn't able to function properly, if you're not having a good day, that's definitely an oversight that you need to take away from it. But it's not like Project Madness has been all doom and gloom this game. They have had some highlights for themselves. They do have 2 rounds on the board, and those are pretty good rounds that they won overall. A lot of good coordination on those, and they can still bring this game back. If there's any team that would just decide suddenly to start winning, it would be Project Madness, and I want to see that life kind of come back into them. And you see Butcher really hasn't given up here either. He's walking with confidence there. That's a Lakad Matatag moment for anyone who knows that reference. But yeah, he's walking with confidence. They're droning in front of him now too, so he's actively being droned into the space. And you see Project Madness, they're starting to work together a little bit more. They know that their life is on the line here, so they've kind of tightened up their gameplay a little bit more, and that's what you expect from a team of their caliber.
For sure. I mean, Madness, as you said, just not giving up. 6-2, they don't really care about that. They'll continue to keep fighting back and try to make a comeback into this. And I am hoping to see Project Madness start to actually... Sorry. Oh, Juicy actually getting... As the confidence, as I was talking about, just shows Juicy and Toaster. I mean, Juicy just swinging wildly, hoping he could find something. But now you're down 3-5 in a 6-2 situation. Madness starts to stall a little bit as Extra does get killed, and Butcher does too. Ty, oh no, another flawless round in the works for Homeland, as Ty has to be the clutch master supreme of Madness, but it just doesn't work out. Homeland takes it 6-2. Very convincing win by Homeland.
Yeah, I think convincing is an understatement there. I've got some stats for you here, and I think this first one that I'm going to go for here is going to blow your mind. Homeland Academy ended this game with, get this, 100% of the opening kills in that game. Not a single round in that game opened with anything other than Homeland Academy getting a kill. That is insane. I've never seen that stat, like, ever. Normally you get like one in there from something cheeky, but it wasn't working. Homeland Academy got 9 opening kills. You start every round with a deficit, man. That's just crazy.
Every single round that you win or lose, all of a sudden is started with an advantage on the side of Homeland. I mean, it's something on Project Madness needed to click today, and it just didn't. And it was very true to that. Project Madness are known as an aggressive team that are very hard to figure out, with that phantom pressure, with that ability to get in your face and then all of a sudden like a ghost disappear into the night and just be not even existent in that area that you were searching with a drone. And it just didn't work. Homeland read into it perfectly, and you know what they did? They did exactly They did exactly what they needed to do for that entire match. Is they needed to just play around the utility and play around the teamwork. They always had someone doubled up each and every single time they were trying to take a room to make sure that in case Madness were playing a little ratty and they were playing a little bit of a, weird spot, that they could get the refrag almost immediately. And
Yeah. It
a
was
lot just didn't work.
definitely a great game coming out from Homeland too. Yeah, sure, Project Madness had their stumbling blocks, but we can't really take anything away from the fact that Homeland played nothing but lights out this game. And with this win as well in regulation, they get 3 points themselves, and that'll put them currently in second place in their group, which is definitely a good look for them as they've been on this uptick swing. So they're now in a very good spot to make playoffs if they haven't already. But with the playoff format that we have this season, with 4 teams from each division, making it seeding really matters now, as you want to give yourself the best chance possible of making a deeper run, especially since there's a lower bracket now as well. So being able to go further in the upper bracket, saving you some of that hassle in the lower, gives you a much better chance in the overall scheme of the tournament to be able to actually take home a very tangible prize here. We have one more game for you guys this evening. It's going to be at 9, so we'll be back at about 8:50 Eastern Standard Time, or is it daylight time? I don't know. Eastern, whatever, U.S. time. So it is going to be between Paradox Black and Fraud Watch. So these are currently the 2 bottom teams in the group right now, both at 0 points. So one of these teams is going to walk away with some points to their name and a win to their name. And we're going to have to find out who a little bit later. So stay tuned and don't go too far.
You said you meet me at A. Now you're 2 hours late. Why you wasting my time? I saw you on the first day. Didn't know what to say. Put my pride on the line. Well, you can meet me on a dance floor, all alone. Not a care in the world. I'm dancing all on my own. Well, you can meet me on a dance floor, all alone. Not a care in the world. I'm dancing all on my own. Oh, 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 Now there's cuffs on the floor, and there's cops at the door. We don't pay them no mind. I've met the neighbors before, and they're outside the door. They seem angry this time. Well, you can meet me on a dance floor, all alone. Not a care in the world. I'm dancing all on my own. Well, you can meet me on a dance floor, all
overload. Wildin' cause I broke the mold. Really in this business of investing, bet I win the most. Cruising when it's 2 a.m. Bodies hanging at the banks. Drive me to the nearest liquor store to celebrate again. Oh, it's on mine, mine, in good time. It's on mine, yeah, good time.
Hold up, wait a minute, stop. I don't even need you anymore, I'm on the top. I've been on a roll, you've been on a drop. I can't give you lessons and this shit is high rock. This ain't new to me. She just sent 140 notes to me. Dripping YSL, these bitches using me. I can't give a damn cause I've been through the rain.
I seen you put the lipstick in the Prada. You moving on the floor. Nice, young, and the vibe is electric. The bankroll at my door. I feel my senses overload. Wildin' cause I broke the mold. Really in this business of investing, but I win the most. Cruising when it's 2 a.m. Bodies hanging at the banks. Drive me to the nearest liquor store to celebrate again. Oh, it's so
No more talking about it. The way it is, the way it is. It's no mystery. There's no getting around it. When you're here, we got chemistry. We light up when we ignite. We are stars in a darkened sky. When you leave, don't forget to remember. Don't forget to remember me. When you leave, don't forget to remember. Don't forget to remember me. Remember me. I'll fight for you every second. To keep your touch in my memory. I'll try not to regret it. What could have been, should have been, if you would stay with me. When you leave, don't forget to remember. Don't forget to remember me. When you leave, don't forget to remember. Don't forget to remember me. Remember me. Remember me. We light up when we ignite. We are stars in a darkened sky. When you leave, don't forget to remember. Don't forget to remember me. When you leave, don't forget to remember. Don't forget to remember me. Remember me. Remember me. Remember me.
Just another sunny day in Southern California. It's where the people came to play. Don't let them transform you. Come and see what you've been missing on a little slice of heaven. It's the only place we're living. It's that West Coast point of view. Easy when it's always summertime fun for you and I. Carefree attitude. Who cares what the people think? It's been turning kinda gray in Southern California, but I'm allergic to the rain. What happened to euphoria? Don't worry about it, don't worry about a damn thing. I'm too excited. Dark liquor with the palm trees. It's all or nothing. Ooh, it's all or nothing. Ignore the signs and socialize.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Xenon Gaming Series Season 3. We've got one final match for you guys tonight, and it is Paradox Black versus Fraud Watch, two teams that have not had the greatest season so far, both sitting at the bottom of their division with 0 points each. It's very simple for this game going forward. You win this game, you have a chance. There's some magic that can happen in the future, and you stand a chance at least of making playoffs. You lose this, and well, you're out. That's it. That's all there is to it. So it's very important that both teams give this game their all. So we're expecting this to be one banger performance here. I'm once again joined with Hunk. Hunk, how are you doing? How are you feeling after that first game that was, well, a pretty large blowout for the side of Homeland?
Very large blowout, but I mean, I loved everything that I was seeing from Homeland, and I feel like I'm gonna have some fun watching this game. It's, as you said, it's gonna be the two teams that have not won a single game, so they're gonna be throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this match because they want to be able to at least pick up some points and go on that Cinderella run of, oh, maybe we can get to playoffs if we win this one match. It's very unlikely for it to happen, but it still can happen. So it would be nice to see, maybe a Cinderella story would happen with this team, with any one of these teams. Personally, I don't see it happening, but it's still going to be fun to watch nonetheless. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with this match. Is it going to be a bloodbath? Is it going to be slow and tactical? We don't know. It's whatever these two teams want to throw at each other and hope and pray that it sticks inevitably. And who knows? We just got to
these
wait.
are these are always the fun matches, right? Because it's such just a large question mark. Of we genuinely have no idea what's going to happen. This could be the what is it? The X at Beast Coast type show, the from last year, the why are you running bio, just nothing happening kind of game. Or this could be like just a really good back and forth style of game, and that's personally what I'm hoping for. Both of these teams qualified for Xenon, and well, if you saw any of those qualifiers, if you got those games, it was rather competitive qualifier overall. So the fact that these teams are here, they've got the potential and they've got the ability to be a really good team within the T3 space. They just need maybe a little bit more oomph going forward here. And this is a good time to get that confidence back now, right? You're playing against a team that you statistically have the best chance of beating in your own group. So this is like a good opportunity for these teams to get on the board and really show us why they're here. Because frankly, all the teams here did earn their spot. Yeah, I do need to correct something I said earlier. Fraud Watch did lose one game in overtime, so they should have 1 point, assuming we're going by the NA rule set where the overtime loss is 1 point. So it is 1 point to 0. So technically, Fraud Watch have a point advantage going into this, but it's negligible at best.
Again, it doesn't really matter what any. It doesn't matter really in the grand scheme of things, considering that you have not won a single match at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a miracle if you win this match. It's going to be a miracle if you can even make it up to the standings to the point where you can actually contest in the playoffs. But as you said, these teams did earn their spot. They deserve to be here. They have that potential. I'd love to see this potential be able to be provided from either one of these teams, as it has been kind of disappointing watching both of these teams kind of just flounder in this division. Granted, this division is stacked super late. Project Men's, Homeland, Outlast. Like, these are killer teams.
Oh, yeah.
And it's definitely hard on the side of these two teams. But if you want to be the best, you got to contest with the best. If you're not contesting with the best, then I'm about to be real quick. You're not the best, and you need to probably go back to the drawing board. But it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do here. I want to see what kind of game plans as that they plan on bringing out both of these teams. I want to see a lot of stuff from this match, and I'm excited for it personally.
Yeah. I mean, they earned their spot here, as we said, and this is where they've got to show us that they have what it takes. I mean, Homeland Academy didn't have an incredible start to their season. Even the games that they were winning or the points that they were picking up, they weren't that impressive overall. And then they just completely flattened Project Madness with good team play. And if either of these teams could wake up today, I'd personally love to see like that Cinderella run kind of story start shaping up. It's always exciting, even just to have the potential of that. I know last season we had the Space Tubes, I think, where they tied in points by the end of it due to some crazy phenomenon happening with some of the other teams, like losing to a team that hadn't won. So yeah, it is possible. We've seen it happen here before in Xenon, but in order to make it a possibility, you've got to win this game right now. And we are going to Oregon again. Yeah, I think your face says a lot. I don't know, man. I think it's just a curse with me. Every time I cast this league, I get a map duplicate back to back. Last time it was Chalet. This time it's Oregon.
I would much
I've
rather
kind of
watch
grown to like
Chalet.
it. I've kind of
I'd
grown
much
to
rather
like it,
watch.
man. It's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, but we get to compare the two maps now, which I think is really cool. So it'll be. I think that's something we can actually focus on a little bit in the game is how much these teams and the way that they're playing this map differs from what we saw earlier. And even just in the previous map, we saw not Fraud Watch. Fraud Watch is playing now. Homeland Academy, excuse me, have a very different approach to their defense than Project Madness just overall. And now we got another two teams coming here, so maybe there could be a little bit more of a direct comparison drawn there. It'll be. I'm always curious to see what people do.
Siege is a game about uniqueness. If you're bringing a different game plan that no one's ever seen, then you're most likely to win. And if you're bringing something that people have seen before, then people are going to read that and they're going to counter it. If you got good leadership, if you got good players, they'll learn how to counter anything. So if either one of these teams want to win these matches, they gotta not go to the basics. They cannot because everyone has played Oregon. I called it Borgen the last match. It's still called Borgen no matter what. You cannot convince me otherwise. Twitch chat, I know you're trying to convince me. You're not convincing me. Borgen will forever remain. So I don't want to ever hear anyone say that Oregon is a good map. This map has been played out. So I want to see a lot of out of the box play from the side of. I want to see a lot of out of the box play from either team that decides to go to Oregon. And I believe that Fraud Watch or Paradox Black, they probably might have something hidden in their sleeves that they might want to pull out. The ace in the hole, the who knows, the Yahtzee in the cup, any other euphemism that
Never heard
includes
that one.
something with winning. Everyone's like ace in the hole. I don't know. I don't know any other
I've
really
never heard
terms.
Yahtzee in the cup before. I might have to start using that. That's a good one. But yeah, we're going to Oregon too, and you said that you wanted to see something unique, and I think that actually raises a really good question for this game: is what can you really do on Oregon that's
Run
unique
out.
and different? Yeah, but that's not you. People should know where the runouts are. This is such like a well played map. If you were talking about like skyscraper being outside the building, I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of cool. It's a different way to approach it. This is Oregon, man. Everyone should know the runouts. So you got the bottom white garage. It's all been done a million times. So
I want to
trying
see
to
everyone
find.
bunkering kids.
Yeah, I'd be down to see that too. But it's a map that's been played a lot, so you got to find different ways of being unique, and it's typically just picking a style and being so good at your style that the other team is forced to change around it. And I think that's something that we really saw Homeland express in that previous game. Like their intel game was just on another level, and Project Madness was unable to adapt to it. So being able to express your style on a map like Oregon, I think, is more important than having more creative setups or unique setups.
Oh no, for sure. It's all about stylistic matchups. If a team of full of fraggers goes up against a team full of supports, 9 times out of 10, those supports that's going to be a bloodbath, and the fraggers are going to win. So it's definitely a lot of stylistic matchups here. And we know Paradox Black being a very aggressive team. They like to get in your face and they like to throw everything. They like to throw everything and the vacuum cleaner at you. They will not leave any stone unturned to find you and cut your lights out immediately into the round. So I want to see if Fraud Watch will be able to actually capitalize on the misplays that are capable that are I'm trying to find the word that are they're trying to capitalize on the mistakes that play style introduces into the game that is Siege, because Siege is all about it's 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 a lot about strategics, and not a lot of people understand that. So it's going to be interesting to see what Fraud Rust can actually do.
Yeah, R6 definitely exists in that fun space where you have to be good at the game mechanically. You still have to win your ones at some point, but like you have to have that strategic depth as well to make it work. And we are ready to get ourselves into the match. So let's go ahead and get started between Paradox Black and Fraud Watch. Fraud Watch starting out on the defense here, so they get that first and fourth ban. Paradox Black getting the middle two. So it'll be curious to see how these bans differ, but more than likely they're going to stay the same, right? You expect Thatcher to be gone. You expect one of Kaid, Mira, Valk to be gone. Maybe the Warden ban doesn't happen this time. That was definitely a really cool little uniqueness there. But the first ban coming out, it is going to be the Thatcher. So same old so far. We're going to have to see if Paradox Black wants to make it a little bit more funny for us.
I think if I'm Paradox Black, I'm thinking of a Ying or a Flores. There's no other way you can be. There's no other way you can even attempt to try to ban something out. As I said, the Flores, because this map is again very shield heavy. What I want to see, another ban I want to see for Paradox Black, I want to see the Wamai. And Wamai is very strong on this map. Wamai is very strong on maps that include a lot of shield setups. Actually, it's going to be the mirror that's banned. I feel, as you said, a waste of a ban. The only site that she's really good on is the basement site, and even then, you still set up like there's a mirror there, but you just don't have the sight lines. So I see no point in that mirror ban for sure. Again,
Yeah.
Wamai ban not coming through instead of Kaid ban. Very similar bans to the last time. The only change being the Mira instead of the Warden. I'm gonna expect no Ying play, right? But I'm gonna expect a lot of utility burnage as this map has been proven to see a lot of utility burnage. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen into this first site, which we're going upstairs. It's the main site for a lot of people. It's a safe site. It's not a bad site at all. Everyone loves this map. It's probably one of the best sites in the game from my standpoint. Armory on Theme Park being the best site in the game. We're gonna see a Mute, Valkyrie, and strangely enough, and a zombie being pulled out. Noble Mai though.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little weird not seeing Momai when I think this is just overall one of his best sites. He's, I think, the king of holding attic. Azami, I gotta agree, very weird pick for the site. The only team that's really brought her up here was TSM, and even then they were throwing one Azami for big window and then jumping out of small tower with her. It's definitely a very clunky site to play a zombie on, but maybe, just maybe, Fraudwatch has found something that really provides value here. And we were talking about how we wanted to see these teams have some kind of unique attempt at, or way to play this map, and what better way than to pick the operator that can really reconstruct the site for you in ways that Mira just can't anymore. So it'll be very interesting to see where Jose is going to end up throwing those down as we do get round number 1 started here. The operators being brought from the side of Paradox, I think pretty standard overall. And the biggest like question mark for me is the Habana choice. It's kind of like the litmus test of hard breachers is what do you pick here? And well, you think about what this Habana is trying to do, right? That Habana is going to be responsible for opening either attic or that main master side. And with Ned's positioning here, it is going to be master. And you gotta fight through very tiny holes, and very importantly, you have to walk through them as well. So a very narrow approach going to be opened here from Paradox Black, unless Nev is willing to commit all 16 Habana pellets, or sorry, excuse me, 18 Habana pellets to that wall.
Yeah, when it comes to this site, I would personally like to use an ace because those holes are much bigger and it's a lot quicker because Habana charges are notorious for taking insanely long to actually be able to detonate and create the hole that you're looking for. But SMU pushes in almost immediately, and as you said, a lot of the Habana pellets going towards that main breach as we start seeing some work on the Mav on the attic side with the Mav Lopez playing this insane exactly how he needs to play. He doesn't need to go for a peek or anything. He just needs to waste time. He needs to be known as a presence there, and he's definitely known. But one thing that I do not like seeing from Paradox Black is the fact that they just stalled out on that attic push. There's no drones coming in at all. But they're going to start trying to do some burn here as Brucey actually goes down to Silka Boy. And I'm going to be honest with you, that was a very nice shot for that Nitro Cell kill. That could have done some damage for sure. As we start seeing Paradox Black slowly but surely start to pull themselves towards a victory here as he pick up on Lopez, but Asoki going right down below with an insane shot onto Wumbo. That's the diffuser down, and Jose is going to be hiding behind the bunk, trying to hold the line against the Paradox Black attack, as he's now the last one left alive, lights up Cal. The diffuser's still not picked up, but Cal somehow with the prone pistol was able to pick up that kill. Oh no, I'm sorry, Paradox Black, but you really need to pick up that diffuser and go for that plant. You had the site in your control for who knows how long, like 10 seconds. You could have gotten that plant down.
Yeah, not a lot of objective focus coming out there, but to some extent, not the extent that it wasn't planted. To some extent, though, it wasn't needed just with the space that they had created. And I think a huge shout out has to go to Isaki on that round, right? Just being able to find a 2 kill value out of a very tough position, being under that meeting hatch is definitely not an easy thing to do. So there was some fight back there from Fraudwatch. The Azami, of course, not working out maybe as they had hoped for it to come out there. So I like this site switch up. You head downstairs. This is another site where Azami doesn't make too much sense to be picked. There's not a whole lot of objects here that you can really extend off of with the Azami barricades, which is what really makes them powerful here. But I'd expect to see her kind of thrown around this laundry freezer area to make whatever she can work there. A very similar operator lineup coming out from Paradox Black here as well. This kind of reminds me of when I first started playing comp as well, right? You want to stick with one lineup and get really comfortable playing it, even if it's not quite the best on every site. And if that's what Paradox is doing here, then I actually can't fault them for picking the Habana. There is a power to having that level of consistency with your operator presence here, and because when you know what everyone on your team is bringing every round, and you can know that you can trust them to play it well, there is extra coordination and teamwork that can come even if you're a relatively new team or a team that's just been having struggles like Paradox has been having this season. We are 30 seconds into this basement attack, and we've seen a pretty thorough clear coming out from Paradox as well. Clearing from small tower over, it's a pretty common thing nowadays, and B3 is going to be the first player to contest it.
I want to see B3 be able to pull something off here, especially with Jose being at his heels, playing together while separated. This is interesting to see because with Jose being there, Sammy you can't walk up and do a wall bang through the security wall. But as I say that, Jose starts to pull himself back, which is a good plan on his part because as the frag grenade goes out. But as you said before, the same lineup coming out from Paradox Black. This is the old Empire strategy. Back in the day when Empire used to reign supreme, they used to just run the same thing every single time. So I'm very happy that they're just sticking to this lineup, as you said, and just moving out as B3 actually does pull out a kill against Cal. That's the Nomad down. I don't believe any Nomad charges were dispelled. Soko Boy, oh no, whiffing the shot on Asoki and Asoki picking up that kill. That is 2 frags down with some damage gone to given to Fraud Watch, but B3 still upstairs, and I don't think Paradox know this.
Yeah, a lot of early pressure being handed the side of Fraudwatch, and these players from Paradox still poking around up here. Nev in the most danger right now is he's about to be contested here by P3 or B3, excuse me. But Nev does win up the fight, so the ban count even out just a little bit more for the side of Paradox Black. They've got a minute to work with here too, so they have enough time to use these last set of drones. They have 3 left in their pockets and on the map right now to really work out where the defenders are playing here and try to get their utility to work for them. In terms of utility, they do still have 2 frag grenades left in the pockets of Wumbo, so they're not really starved of it just yet. And if they can make this utility work for them, they might actually stand a really good chance here in the round. This is Zombie Barricade. I talked about it not being good. It actually lets Sipa Sam all the way up here, and he's able to get a pick onto Isaki for it. And this Highway Shield now next under contestation with about 30 seconds left on the clock. The nade coming out now too towards Highway Shield. It's not going to detonate just yet. That is Jaeger playing in that position, plus that Warden, or excuse me, Wamai that you were talking about making his appearance here too. So a lot of utility denial coming out. So Bruce manages to sneak up Freezer here, and Sipa Sam hasn't checked it just yet. So Bruce grabs 1, but he gets shut down by Nev, who's got 2 on the quick fight so far. But Jose is able to pick 1 back, and it's now just on Wumbo. It's just on no one as Jose shuts it down to give Fraudwatch their first round.
Definitely exactly what needed to happen. Fraudwatch realized that they didn't have very many drones in their pockets. They couldn't utilize any information at all, so they had to sorry. But I like to see the thing that the Paradox Black definitely did was they got exactly what they were looking for, the control, but the issue was they didn't have very many drones to execute on site. Information is important in this game, so you need to find out where the defenders are, and if you don't know where the defenders are, well, they can do stuff like Brucey just did. Hide behind the freezer silver box, and what are you going to do to contest it? Well, nothing, because you don't know he's there. So he pops up and picks up Nev and Samu, or not Samu, Nev, I'm sorry. He picks up Samu, but Nev does get the trade-off, and I mean, that's still a body lost due to a missed drone misplay by the side of Paradox Black. Definitely
Yeah.
lost themselves the information game on that one. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna do coming forward through this for the next few rounds here.
Yeah, the drone play definitely wasn't entirely there for them. And I almost just based off of that alone, if that's something that Fraud Watch is able to read into, like, hey, these people aren't droning well, if you recognize that and you're playing Oregon, I'm going to say this once and you should listen very clearly. Meeting becomes a better site when the other team is not droning properly. So if that's something that you can recognize, you really should elevate Meeting to above upstairs on your priority list. And especially since Paradox was able to win upstairs, I wouldn't be too surprised if Fraudwatch is willing to go there or elects to go there. But yeah, it is a little bit concerning to see some of the just I think it's more miscommunication than anything on that like botched freezer take as well. And I think that's something that does need to be cleaned up across the board. We saw Homeland doing it very well, right? You saw that coordination between drones and frag grenades being so precise that they were getting 5 kills in their half just from nades. And that's just not there right now, right? Because Wumbo, who was playing Maverick, he was on that laundry push. He was the guy with the diffuser, should have called that there was no one highway. They should know that no one is on that highway shield just based on the circumstances surrounding that. So being able to let him into freezer unaware is a little bit of a miscommunication in my eyes. But we are back into the game now, and we are headed back upstairs. So this is the site that Paradox was able to win. It wasn't too convincing, but when you give the attackers a chance to adapt their strategy, when you on the defense haven't changed anything, it typically goes a little bit worse for you the second time around. And well, you lost it the first time, so they've got to change something at least in the play style of how Fraudwatch approaches this site to try and make it a victory on their behalf.
I am very interested to see what Fraudwatch are going to do for the swap for any change up here, but it looks like it's going to be the same exact setup, the same exact way, with the same exact operators. No smoke involved, so we have the Azami for all the shields. That's what I assume the Zami's for. Upstairs is for the places that a shield would be, and that's not a bad idea. But the issue is the only plant denial you have is 2 C4s, and the attackers can easily avoid those C4s by planting in off positions. A lot of people know the default positions of planting, especially on a map like Oregon, but I mean, if someone decides to plant somewhere else, like especially on concrete, that area is completely immune to C4s, so they can just plant right there, and you know that's your entire plant denial just off the board. As we get to see Paradox Black, Soka Boy start to put a little bit more pressure into the big tower take, as well as Wumbo going on that side. Nev, I like the change up here. Nev has the diffuser this time, so that way when they do get on site, they can just transition into a plant and then inevitably transition into a post-plant scenario. But in fact, actually, as I say that, Soka Boy is falling off that tower push. Actually, it looks like it's going to be a heavy master push, master and armory push. If Fraudwatch play this correctly, Attic is completely free for them. They can play Attic all they want. So I'm going to be very interested to see if Paradox Black can still manage to avoid the play, but also adapt this take into their situation, as I believe they're doing exactly what I think they're doing. They're going to want to go for a plant on concrete so they can avoid the C4s as these Zama barriers are imposing themselves onto the side of Paradox Black as Fraudwatch. I mean, they're using those Azamis the way they wanted to, which is basically use them as little mini shields, and it seems to be working because Fraudwatch are a little too scared to actually push this, as B3 is going to be the one on the bookshelf trying to contest the angle that goes into Trophy as he resets his own Aruni gate, but Brucey does inevitably get picked up by Wumbo. Amazing kill from his point, a burn coming through as Samu peeks and gets the kill onto B3. That is just unfortunate on his part, but we do have one behind in the back bunks contesting the area. This is exactly what he needs to do. He needs to stay alive and waste as much time. Another one coming up from White. That's Soka Boy with Iana. Another Keeper Bear is going to go through, cover up that breach. Oh, a nice shot onto Samu. That's the trophy position down. Asoki going for a flank onto the White. Will it work? It will indeed. Soka Boy goes down. Jose gets Cal. This looks like it's going to be a very, very convincing win for Fraudwatch. The plant does go down as a swing happens, but Asoki, the unsung hero of the Dorm's defense, just picking up every single kill he needs to get in order to bring it on to the side of Fraudwatch. That is a victory for them, and now they have to go to meeting. Insane play by him. My goodness.
I mean, it's just a great play overall by Isoki, but it's more so just confusing the adaptations that Paradox Black made there, right? I talked about how when you reapproach a site, you should be better at it, but instead Paradox got less map control in less time. They dedicated everyone to that master space, and not a single soul even looking at Attic other than at the start of the round. You kind of need that space if you want to go through master, because otherwise players existing in Attic really stop you from being able to get into sight there. Of course, that round it didn't happen just because Isoki managed to get behind like 3 people there and just shut them down. So it's very well played on his behalf. But if you look at his team as well, he's by far and away the standout performer so far. 4 of those kills in that last round, 3 the round before. And so more people on the side of Fraudwatch do need to pick up the slack just a little bit more. They are ahead, so they have some extra time in their pockets to get themselves awake and back in the map. But you do need to consider that as a thing that it could be going wrong for you here, because if Isoki ever runs into problems and he gets taken out early, Fraudwatch has to have more in their pockets to be able to fight back into this. We are seeing this meeting round, though, that you were talking about. It is one of my favorite sites to see just in the entire game. I think it's a very cool dynamic, especially when teams like Paradox are going for your favorite attack on it, right? It's this Osa shield from Big Tower, and I think this is... It's not a complicated on paper attack, but it's very complicated in the details, right? Everyone has to be doing their job properly. You've got to talk together. Otherwise, there's going to be a hole that forms somewhere, and if the defense can find that, you're going to lose the round.
9 times out of 10, that defense does find that hole indeed, and then it happens to collapse. And exactly what I like to see from Paradox is using the OSA to hold down locations that they need to hold. A big tower attack, another one coming through today. I mean, I'm feeling quite flattered, not gonna lie. But enough boasting about myself. I want to boast up this team, because if Fraudwatch actually holds this the way I think they're gonna hold it, then indeed this is going to be a round win, as B3 playing super aggressive, exactly how he needs to make sure that no one can just go for a quick rush plant. Insane angle, actually, that he just found as he spots one run upstairs. He's waiting for the run back down, swing, gets a few hits onto it as Sokoboy goes down. Inevitably, Isoki does get picked. The Finka does pick up a Sokoboy. That was just a lot of damage to wasted, but Samu misses the shots. This is insane right now, as B3 is in a good position to prevent any entry from the side of Paradox. Jose does get aggressive, though. Sokoboy throws a frag grenade and misses, and I believe misses it, as Nev picks up Brucey. Brucey not having a good game. B3 is swinging out aggressively, picks up Sokoboy, but Nev gets the refrag onto the hatch. A completely different attack that's now being attempted right now from Paradox, as it looks like they might try to go for a cheeky hatch drop. And I say that, and Nev just does. He drops down the hatch, but doesn't go for any plinks. No box. No box indeed. The Osa does pick it up, gets swung from Greenhall as the smoke decides to back up. Amazing kill from Nev. Nev is being the unsung hero of this round instead, as an Osa shield does go down for a plant. Will he be able to pick up the kill? No, does get downed and killed eventually by Lopez. Lopez has the shotgun, 40 seconds left. He knows he can play the time right now. Cal has to try to find a plant spot, and it looks like he's going to be doing the same Osa shield. Oh no, he picks it up instead, doesn't go for the plant. Turn around, buddy, please. You know you can plant backwards. Instead, he decides to go close and hug the desk, but he has to know Lopez missing the shots onto Cal. This is going to be a post-plant scenario, a 1v1 situation, as Cal starts to use the Osa shield to his advantage. Instead, oh, nice shot from Cal, able to destroy the Nitro Cell. This isn't a war of attrition. This is just a trench battle right now. Cal can see him. Lopez can see Cal. I mean, it's just a game of peekaboo, and Cal can just play this how he wants it, and he's playing it exactly how he needs to play it. Just sit behind that shield, wait for the swing. Lopez does get very close, doesn't get the fight. Unfortunately, Cal picks up the second round for Paradox. I mean, what I like from Fraudwatch in that round was they got aggressive when they needed to, and they got in good positions, but Paradox read into those positions and took them out immediately the minute they got to those positions. So a little bit of very, very good reading from both sides of these teams, and I gotta say, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It kind of feels like Fraudwatch didn't have a plan in that round. They just kind of like, yeah, our top fragger, so he's just gonna walk into Big Tower once the hole gets open. Yeah, that's a good plan there, and it didn't work. And then, well, what's the next thing in line? I don't know. I guess we'll just run through the breach. Oh, that didn't work either. And then Paradox, they just weren't using the OSA shields for addicts, so they were on the hat. It was just a mess of a round, man. But I think it's Pengu who said it best, and if you want to be good at Siege, you've got to win the rounds that are messy, right? Nothing about that round was normal, and being able to win rounds that are not normal is a very good sign for a team, right? If you can win everything that goes exactly by the textbook, then yeah, you're a robot more than anything else, and at that point you are the hack, not just the person using them. So you gotta be able to win the rounds that are messy. So it's good that Paradox is able to win that round, but they've got to continue that now in a more convincing fashion, right? Coming down to a 1v1 is not the ideal goal for any team, so maybe they could kind of tune up their game a little bit more here. They brought that same operator lineup that we've seen time and time again from them now, the Nomad, Mav, Yana, Finka, Hibana. It's the tried and true for them, and hopefully we get to see why they think it's their tried and true, and this is a great site for them to prove it here. It's a very similar style of defense to how it was played the first time Fraudwatch was down here. Just cheating up on the staircases here. One freezer, actually 4 members on the first floor. If they manage to get past this Wamai, well, that's not one way to do it, but if you get past this Wamai and just go down the stairs, there's only one guy there to find you, so maybe a main lobby rush here too would work.
Definitely, for sure. I believe. Oh, B3 was able to swing out and pick up Samu. Perfectly played by the side of Fraudwatch. I mean, throw a little bit of peekage in there. You know, get them on their toes. Make Samu scared to push. Issue was Samu wasn't scared. So what do you have? You have B3 on the 90 corridor, or Zed Hall, as some people would call it. Just swing it right as Samu was walking up, and B3 played that perfectly. Now he's gonna be swinging this angle very wide, hoping and praying that another person will walk through it. It does appear that someone did walk through it, but B3 is deciding to play a little bit more back. He's playing this exactly how he needs to. Push it, pull a little bit back as Nev starts to peek. But why is Nev peeking? He's the hard breach. I think only one of the hatches have been open. Nomad, what are you doing? You have to be peeking this instead. You cannot have your soul, not your soul hard breach, but one of your hard breachers and the case peeking that. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I just had to point that out. And he does go down inevitably. Oh no. Oh, this isn't looking good for Paradox, as now they only have the Mav, but they only have a minute left. I don't think they have the leading hatch open at all. A nice shot coming out from Nev, as I believe it was a really tight angle that Ahsoki inevitably did get that, but Soko Boy does start pushing down into Freezer and does pick up the kill onto Brucey. Brucey not having a good game at all. It's unfortunate for him, but I mean, we got some frag grenades cooking here. Oh, nice shot from Lopez too. It looks like it's going to be another gunfight heavy round here, another very sloppy one indeed, and we all know how we like sloppy rounds as the pings just start coming out through the bulletproof camera. Soko Boy does get down. Cal has to peek this in order to save his friend. Instead, he doesn't actually save his friend. He gets killed, but gets 2 double kills, and now it's a 1v2. Low HP, yes, but a 1v2 is a lot more winnable than a 1v1. He's got the diffusers. Pinks start coming out even more through the bulletproof camera as the wubs under the sink start to pick him out too. A gas canister inevitably does block off his entrance. He's going to try to walk in it, and he can't inevitably do it due to the time. I didn't even realize that the time was up at that point. I mean, just an insanely fast-paced round in the last few seconds. And this is really showing me right now that Paradox Black have terrible, terrible time management. They spend way too long on a lot of the first few seconds of the round doing a lot of droning when you could just be pre-placing drones and getting into the building faster.
Yeah, I don't know how much I'll agree with their time management being the problem, but it's definitely roam clear is what they're struggling. It's what they're sinking time into. It's not like they're standing around waiting for things to happen.
Oh, no, they're not.
It's just that they cannot physically move forward because of how aggressively Fraudwatch is roaming on that site. There were 4 people on the mid-floor of the map, and if you're not following your drones properly, then yeah, taking space is a really hard thing to do, and we saw Paradox get punished for it, but their time management was fine. They they need to be droning better to actually get the space, to get that congestion. And I really hate to say this, but this lineup just is not working for Paradox Black. Look into some other operators, right? You're struggling with roam clear. Jackal's unbanned. Sure, you hate to bring it in comp. It feels like a little bit of a waste of an operator slot, but he has a purpose, right? He's really good at finding players like B3, at finding players like Isaki, and making their position known to you so that you're not surprised by it. And the fact that he hasn't shown up and that Gridlock hasn't either, on this map, Nomad doesn't really get that much value when you could just bring Gridlock and more effectively shut it down. Like, the only difference really here is just the flashbangs, and, well, Paradox just hasn't been throwing enough flashbangs for me to think it's worth bringing. We are going upstairs here, though, for round 6. This is Fraudwatch's final defense, and they did this site the last time we were up here. The only site they lost on their main in that first rotation, of course, being Meeting. So yeah, we're back on the site that Fraudwatch has shown that they can win here too. They're bringing out this weird Azami again as well, just throwing those Kiba barricades all over the bunks side of the map here. And Paradox this time, they have made that adjustment that we were criticizing them very heavily for in the past. They've gotten into tower this time as well. Sulka Boy taking this initial contestment against B3 here, but they've got something going for them on the other side of the map, so that they can pinch out the site when the time requires.
Definitely exactly what I want to see here is, again, yeah, just them moving over for a different push as they spot B3. However, they did read the situation that B3 is going to try to get aggressive for another flank here, and I believe this is where the power of the Nomad could be used. But she's on the other side of the map, so B3 is just going to fall back, and they're just going to have to trust the guns that they can keep up, hopefully. But Asoki does inevitably get Cal. That's the Nomad down. My goodness, that opens up a lot, actually, for the side of Fraudwatch. I mean, now they can go for a lot more flanks. Granted, there's only 2 places you can flank, either main stairs or white stairs. But it worked out for Asoki. One of the rounds they went up here, I think it was round, remind me, was round number 3. Yeah, round number 3. It did work out inevitably for them to flank up one of the stairs, as Lopez is going to be playing the Azami barrier right here with a Nitro Cell prepped and ready, waiting for a sound cue that someone's moving past or even closer to him. No move is just happening yet. And I am understanding why Paradox right now cannot be moving too quickly is because people like B3 hiding downstairs and meeting looking for another kill inevitably gets found out. So good read on Soka Boy's part, as Soka Boy throws another frag grenade, tries to push the person off the shotgun spot, doesn't get to push that person off. In fact, gets down as Wumbo goes for a plant. Lopez has to find Wumbo as the plant does inevitably go down. Asoki and Lopez, the only 2. Asoki going for another flank here, and it works out again. Lopez and Asoki just have to play this together perfectly, and they do it. If Asoki dies, Lopez picks up that kill, and instead he picks up that diffuser plant. I mean, as you said, they needed to go to the drawing board. They needed to do something different with that operator lineup because it was clearly lurking. Yeah, bring the Gridlock. She could shut that down. Yeah. She could shut down a lot of those corridors that are involved with flanking. So it was very interesting to see Paradox Black just stick with the same lineup, even though it wasn't working out for them at all. The only time they ever changed that lineup was when that was the meeting site that Fraudwatch did inevitably win out, or not win out. Sorry, it was Paradox Black that they inevitably did win out. So making some changes isn't the worst thing in the world, especially if it leads you to round wins and a little bit of a unpredictability from the defenders, because now they're gonna have to fear you. But I mean, Fraudwatch actually. Interesting pick there. I think they were going to go for a Glaz and Sense combo.
They still have the Glaz.
they swapped over the Glaz, but Nasoki going onto the Zo? I mean,
I kind of like this.
I like it too. I like Glaz as an operator. He's a very interesting operator, especially now that he has a secondary weapon that you can actually duel with and hope and you know you actually can win a gunfight with and not have to rely solely on aim and hit registration. But instead, Jose, breaking my heart, goes onto the Twitch instead. You know, it hurts a little bit, but I'll accept it. And I actually can't blame him, actually. Now that I'm looking at it, he, as a Twitch, that Twitch drone is an insanely powerful tool that you can use. that can get rid of a lot of utility right off the bat. A mute jammer, if you're good enough at the Twitch drone, Jaeger ADSs, Alibi Prismas, as Wumbo does actually get found out insanely early on. 30 seconds into the round even. Oh my goodness, that's a Jaeger down for the count. Soki just having a game today.
Yeah, very fiery start for Fraudwatch into their first attacking round. I wanted to say here that too, this is Paradox and Black's chance to really change the momentum of the map. When you switch sides, it is kind of like a free mental reset for your team. The idea behind how you're playing the map has to fundamentally change because, well, the sides here have fundamentally changed as well. And so we get to see them shine on a different site here, or a different style of play here, but Isoki's already into the site. Soka Boy not having those big window holes pre-opened means that Isoki's able to gun that player down on white stairs before getting downed himself out. If you count downs as killed, then we're back into a 3v3 here, as Lopez is also down. So the hard breacher is already fallen for the side of the blue team. That's Fraudwatch, of course, but Jose grabs one. Another player called out in this attic space, so that position for Cal has been known. Soka Boy now trying to play around this top white namespace here, as Lopez does get brought up there by the Finka. So no players really lost in that exchange from Fraudwatch, other than the one that was traded out for that white stairs push. Cal gets one back though, so evening out the man count just a little bit more for the side of Paradox Black, as we get to hit a little bit of the pause button, but we wait for these Fraudwatch members to really decide where the push is going. But Soka Boy doesn't believe in pauses. That's another kill for his name. These players just lights out, shutting down these crossfires. You've got to take attic. We saw Paradox make this mistake earlier, and now they get to capitalize on Fraudwatch making the exact same mistake, and that was a 2v4 flipped on its head by just Cal and Soka Boy. That's some incredible gunplay there, some incredible angle holding there as well, just being able to communicate where those players are coming from and shut them out from any entry into the site. Those are the kind of rounds you need to win if you want to get back into this game.
Well, as you said before, the swapping sides is somewhat of a free mental reset, and I think that's exactly what Paradox Black saw it as. You know what? We may have only won 2 rounds, but think about it like this. We're on the defense. We're on the supposedly easier side for the longest time. And exactly what they needed to do, exactly what they did on that round, and hence why they were able to win it. I mean, this is what happens, people, when you don't take attic. If you're going to attack top floor, you need to take attic. It doesn't matter if you're taking master or if you're taking big window. Attic needs to be a focal point in your push, because if players can play around attic, then they're going to shut down anything that you can do. And that's the issue that, Paradox Black made in their attacks upstairs, and just exactly what Fraudwatch did. You need to take attic. But one thing that I do like to see, however, is the adaptation here. Swapping out the Twitch for a Ying. They recognize that, hey, maybe we can just throw some flashbangs in there. Maybe
yeah,
we can
but take a look at the other side here too. Paradox has that Warden, an operator that was banned out in the previous game to give Ying more power and more presence here, but it's not banned this time, and Paradox Black are actually willing to pick it here. So that's a good sight. It's good to see him making his appearance. Of course, he's got that deployable shield, which on a site like Basement is pretty powerful too, though a little bit overzealous in some regards. You don't need that many shields on the Basement here to make it work for yourself. But with Fraudwatch getting themselves into the map, they are clearing the building, and unlike what we saw Fraudwatch doing, Paradox is down on the site. So this early round here for Fraudwatch should be just pretty much a checklist more than anything else. There's no one up here to even contest, so it's just a matter of how efficiently can they drone out this portion of the building without losing too much time on their side.
I'm glad that you pointed out that Warden, because that just made me realize that Fraudwatch re-picked into that game. So I'm assuming they didn't know there was a Warden, or they knew there was a Warden, and they just decided to pick the Ying anyway. And again, also, there's a Wamai, there's a Jaeger. Now I'm thinking about this. I don't think Ying will be as effective as we would want her to, especially on a basement site. With all the things that can stop a Ying charge or smoke canisters from going off, not smoke canisters, smoke grenades, Paradox brought them all. Fraudwatch may have been better off with that Twitch. If not the Twitch, then maybe a different operator entirely. I am definitely surprised that they decided to re-pick into the Ying, even though they know, most likely they know, that there's a lot of things stopping this Ying play.
I mean, They really shouldn't know, just because you shouldn't waste your drones in the prep phase to find out what every operator is. So maybe Warden was just existing in the basement, they didn't see it there. But either way, that's just significantly far behind us at this point, as we have 1 minute left in this round here too. So Fraudwatch is going to have to get a move on. They've got to start getting into the site here, and you see that Ying's positioning as well, very aggressively positioned on that electrical hatch. He's going to be that extra point of aggression here. Once you hear those Ying Candelas go out on the backside of site, is when these players in Freezer should start to get a move on here. But Isaki gets caught early on, so that's one of the Freezer players already gone, dying out to that highway shield. They've got the utility in pocket to clear it. Brucey still has that Gon 6. It hasn't been used yet, but the wide swing picks up Sulka Boy, so that kill is at least traded back as the Ying is quickly rotating back to Freezer, giving up that extra sight pressure on the backside. So all of the players on Paradox now can have their guns trained on Freezer and Laundry here. 20 seconds left. The utility starting to be thrown out. Flashbangs coming out. Smokes from the Ying as well. Flashbangs coming through as well. That Ying value still working out despite all the denial that you highlighted earlier on. Ying loses a ton of health though, as Warden does manage to tag her out through the shield, but Jose grabs one. Nev and Wombo grabbing one back as well. Paradox now being able to shut these players out from entering the site. Nev grabs the last one. Paradox Black on the comeback here. Their uptick swing working perfectly in their favor. The game is now tied 4-4.
I mean, Fraudwatch just wasn't prepared for the absolute aggression that Paradox Black just brought out. I mean, a lot of wide swinging was being made from the side of Paradox Black, especially just throwing them off guard. I think the plan is let them think that you're just going to win the easy gunfights and then just hold the angles, as we saw Nev doing perfectly, exactly what he needed to do. Play behind that shield and just use your smoke canisters outside. And as you said, with the Ying rotating off, that's the extra sight pressure gone. So you can just freely play inside that site, and you don't have to really worry about your back at all. Because Fraudwatch, they needed 2 people pushing that Freezer side. That strategy relied heavily on everyone surviving and doing their part. And unfortunately, not everyone survived. As a matter of fact, everyone died, as it was a complete shutout on the side of Paradox Black, just doing exactly what they needed to do. Again, just the play coming in from the side of Paradox Black, especially on the defense, is a lot better than their attacks. And I'm beginning to see why, and I'm beginning to see the potential that this team, Paradox Black, is known for.
Yeah, they definitely have a good amount of potential here, but I think this is kind of the site where they have to show us why they have that potential, right? If you think back to the classic image of Siege, everyone just kind of assumes you're going to win 2-1 on all of your 3-site rotations, with the tertiary site being the one you lose. And, well, you need 7 rounds to win a game of Rainbow Six Siege, so really the game is genuinely defined by how well you can play the tertiary site. So this is where Paradox has to show us that they have what it takes to win this game here. And it's cool that we get to see an actual head-to-head now between Paradox's OSA take and Fraudwatch's, as they're also bringing out the OSA. So this is going to be a good test here to see how well they can coordinate it. And they've already got a couple of different ideas to how I go about this. You see how Bruce, that Finca player, is in the basement. That's not something Paradox even really considered as an option there. So being able to make sure that there's no one down there, no one's going to be throwing nitros up the hatch late, which is something that this take is very weak to. So Fraudwatch definitely putting in the time and the mileage on this site, on the attacking side, to understand what they need to do to try and make this work.
They're doing a lot of what Paradox Black didn't do, and that was watch for flanks and set up the positions that they need to set up and make sure that those positions are solid. As you said, downstairs, that is a very, very, very high point of contention for the defenders, because if you're doing a back tower take, you want a defender to walk up those stairs, those back tower stairs, so you can inevitably either pick them off, or if a defender wants to walk up them, and inevitably pick up the planter. So it is good to see that they had a drone and a body down there nonetheless, trying to see if they can find anyone downstairs. And on the side of Paradox Black, no one was down those stairs, as B3 is going for a little bit of a back push. A lot of adaptations coming through for this OSA push. I mean, pushing from behind is exactly what you need to do. Oh, Nev with the SMG-11 does a wild swing, but B3 and Lopez gets 2 kills right back to back with a soak. Oh, wow. Sorry. I meant to say with B3 inside of security, as it's Samu, just the last one left alive, does get a nice kill onto B3. And it's going to be down to Samu to pick up this W. OSA shield's still up. OSA has the case and another 2 bodies to watch the angles. It is going to be a very hard retake for Samu, but Samu is going to try to pull it off, and he doesn't actually. I thought he was about to get that kill onto Lopez, which would have been a nice flick and a nice attempt, but I believe Fraud Watch just knew what was going to happen, and they played that a lot better than Paradox Black did. They did everything they needed to do. Person slash drone downstairs, person pushing from behind, opened up a lot of that site. This is what I like to see from that attack is when people play the positions that they need to play. It's a very execute heavy attack. You want to get that diffuser down, and you
Yeah.
need everyone to play that part, to play the part that they were assigned in order to get that diffuser down. Otherwise, it's just going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, Paradox Black, it felt like more than anything else, was just getting shot in the back on repeat. They just didn't have a good finger on the pulse of what Fraudwatch was really trying to set up there, despite the fact that it was a pretty cookie-cutter setup there. I think the biggest outlier there was B3's positioning, coming through security there, and just being able to catch Nev in the back. He got an incredible shot on, like, through that breach there to find the opening pick for Paradox, but they weren't able to go much further with it, just players trying to look back and forth between the different angles. It was a very good site collapse here from Fraudwatch, but now we get into a very interesting round here. It's this first site repeat here for Paradox Black. Of course, they went the full 3 rotation before they had to come back up here, having 1 upstairs the last time they were here. But now they're in a very interesting position because Fraudwatch should understand how Paradox fundamentally wants to play this site, so the pressure's really on them now to change up their lineup, to change up how they approach this site. And I think the biggest thing they need to change is, well, you can't let Cal sit for free in that attic space. We saw him go absolutely mental the last time that he was there. He was just completely uncontested. The only contestation really coming for it, Bruce was repelling there. Just a very long angle and a very obvious and normal angle that you should be expecting someone to hold. And the fact that there's still no one out by attic, I think, is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, this is already shaping up in the beginning of the round to be possibly a Paradox Black victory on this top floor site. Again, just no one pushing that attic side. I do not like this at all. I detest this. Just the fact that a lot of people think that you can just push the main window and not have to deal with the attic players. Well, guess what the attic players have? They have a rotate into kids. Where is kids located next to? Big window. Where are you trying to enter through? Big window. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to hop through big window into a line of sight where you can see from attic through the rotate. I want to see what Fraudwatch can do, however, with what looks to be B3 going for a long swing, but I mean, it just doesn't work out in his favor as Sammy, who picks up that kill very convincingly. Exactly how he needed to play that. He just needed to wait for the swing as B3 does go down. Cal gets a little injured from a frag grenade onto the shield that he did have. So they are starting to try to push Cal back and make sure that that attic player cannot play exactly where he wants to play. Nev does get picked up by a frag grenade as well. That's the smoke down too in a minute into the round. I believe no smoke canisters were used in that time frame. So that's an insane pick on the side of Fraudwatch. A little bit more droning does come in from the side of Fraudwatch as well, and just the guy is playing inside of attic.
Yeah, no one coming up white yet so far for the side of Fraudwatch, so Wumbo is in a really good position here to deny a lot of what Fraudwatch wants to do, but he doesn't get blocked for his value. Brucey just out-frags him. Lopez grabs one as well, as these players from Fraudwatch are now starting to make their claim into the site, but Waksipa Sam and Cal grab 2 back, so now we're down into a 2v2 again. We've been here before, Fraudwatch. Have you learned your lesson? Can you actually get into the site? It doesn't seem like the answer is going to be yes so far, as Cal, once again, that menace and attic still unpushed off that area. You can throw as many nades as you want at him, but until you actually kill him, he's going to be a menace. Jose, the last man standing for Fraudwatch, does get tagged up. He's down to 1 bullet from either of these players, and the clock is working against him here. He doesn't check Sipa Sams. They go another one, and for the first time in this game, they have a definitive lead in their advantage here, I believe, unless we're down to 5-5. I might have done my math wrong. I think it's 5-5, actually. That's my bad. But still, Paradox Black has fought tooth and claw back into this game, and we're going to see all 12 rounds of this game at a minimum. And a lot of that, I have to think, is just due to both of these teams really struggling on this execution style. They don't know what the other team has set up to be in their way, and they're not really willing to change their main plan of attack or defense here. And I think it's really going to be the first team that does that that's going to see success, and we're actually seeing Fraudwatch be the first team that does that. They've got the blitz hovered here. Nev, hopefully, is prepared for this. This is such a common thing nowadays that if you're that smoke player in elbow, you've got to know how to play into this. Pre-place that smoke canister on the wall. Be ready to just play for your life here and buy as much time as you can, because the rest of your players, with how Paradox Black are holding this site, it really does make a lot of sense that this should not work. The Paradox Black was not roaming. If Floodwatch ran this against themselves, it'd be incredible, right? It'd be such an incredible take. They had one person on site. Paradox Black had 5, so it's a little bit interesting to see them go for that when there weren't any roamers from Paradox in the previous round.
And it looks like Fraud Watch do stick the blitz. It looks like the rush is planned and is wanted. Brucey is going to use the Gon 6 to open up that door. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Blitz rushes right in, into the elbow. No one is there to contest him as he takes elbow control. Lopez does get lit up very shortly afterwards. Nev does get down, but Cal picks up the refrag. Asoki goes down as well. It seems like this rush isn't going to work out as Lopez goes down as well. Oh no, a miscalculation from both sides, but it seems like Paradox Black does win out on the miscalculation of Fraud Watch, as Fraud Watch just inevitably fall to the wayside, inevitably losing that round, all on a rush that was based purely on luck, and they had the luck in their favor. Blitz was able to get elbow control as soon as possible. The minute he was able to attempt to move into sight, he froze, and for good reason.
That's a concerning round to see, right? I think I was highlighting it in the preface. You get up elbow, sure, right? That's the whole point of the Bliss Rush, is it gets you that elbow control. But the entirety of Paradox is on site already, so you can't go any further, and they just got completely clapped off the entrances as they tried to walk further there. So now we've reached this critical round, this match point round for Paradox Black, and it's on their uncomfortable site, right? They're going back to meeting, and well, I'm not going to hold any punches here. The last time they were here, they got absolutely slammed. It was kind of embarrassing. So if Paradox is able to just clean up their play a little bit better, maybe take one of those roamers upstairs that weren't really able to do anything with it, and get them into that Z Hall. Don't let B3 behind you, because every member of Paradox just kind of turned to look at him last time, and they just got shot in the back for it. So you've got to have a little bit better flank management, get more control of the map here, and when you're playing a site like Meeting, you should be able to control the map as much as you can, at least a giant portion of it, because this site is a giant portion of the map. So if you're not holding a lot of the map, you're kind of already at a disadvantage.
Yeah, it's definitely, I do want to see what you had just said, one of the roamers from upstairs. You want one of them to try watching back, so B3 doesn't do exactly what he did last time, was just do a little bit of a cheeky flank off, and it worked out the first time. Will Paradox Black adapt into it, or will they fall for the same trick again? This is what Siege is about. It's definitely a game about adaptation. So if you do that adaptation, then you most likely will win the round. And in this case, this is the map. This is the match point. So it would be indeed Paradox's Black most important round that they could ever win, especially if they're going to adapt perfectly. As we see Wumbo trying to get a little aggressive here, not much is really going to happen here as Cal does get a drone. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, Paradox Black are actually adapting right now. They have the castle waiting.
Yeah, they're doing a little bit of kind of what I said I wanted to see out of them, right? I believe it was Sip of Sam out in that Z Hall. The B3 is unable to just get all of that control freely, and if you look at his silhouette on the other side of the map there, sure, we're only a minute in, but he hasn't gotten into the building, and in fact, he's bailing on it entirely because his drones got taken out before he could actually get in on any space, so he's now just playing around this green hole space, and it's already a massive improvement for Paradox Black's chance in this round, simply because they're not going to get shot in the back, but as I said, that B3 and Jose grabbed 2 for themselves, so a very confident lead coming out here for the side of Fraud Watch. And now the only real line of defense for them on this site is Nev, and he's getting utility thrown at him here. He's completely blinded out. He's got to start throwing those smoke canisters as they do start being chucked out of his pocket. They've got to find some advantage in this round. The clock is not in the favor of Paradox Black right now.
Yeah, 1 minute left into the round. You lose 2 people, not due to a flank, but oh no! Cal goes for a wild run out. Oh, I was hoping for one of them at some point. Oh no, they got rid of the Yosha shield, but they did get it open eventually. Cal does get downed inevitably. Soka Boy still upstairs. I think he's gonna be a huge factor. But as I say that, he starts to run back downstairs as it looks like Fraud Watch are actually adapting pretty well. They're going to start going for a kitchen push here. Make sure that no one can really sit in the back and chuck smoke canisters, as Asoki is just going to sit right here on the green hall. see a swing from Soka Boy. Soka Boy gets lit up, and he actually wins the fight. Gets repicked by Jose. Lopez gets the pick onto Nev as Cal tries to go for a wild flank, and it looks like he's going to be able to pull it off as the case go down. He runs up the stairs, but Bluesy is right there, right behind him to shoot him in the back as we go to overtime on Oregon.
Yeah, it's definitely been a close game so far. Neither of these teams really wanting to go quietly into the night. Unfortunately, I think for Paradox now, assuming that I've done any amount of math correctly today, and I really haven't so far. Okay, yeah, Paradox, I believe, is now completely eliminated from any possibility of going to playoffs, as they just can't get enough points. The max they can get here is 2 plus 3 for winning. So yeah, Paradox, I believe, it has already been eliminated at this point, but you still want to put up a good performance here. You want to get as many points as you can. And, well, you've got the defensive side here as you got to pick your overtime starting side, and Paradox has shown themselves to be a pretty good team here on the defense, and they're going to start us back down into the basement. I don't expect Fraudwatch to go for that blitz rush again, and I hope for their sake as well as ours that they don't.
Definitely, for sure. I don't want to see that rush again, and it looks like they're not going to go for that rush, which is a good thing. But as you said, like, Paradox Black may be eliminated, but they definitely do want to try to put off at least a good showing and at the least gatekeep Fraudwatch from getting into the playoffs. But, I mean, I want to see what Paradox Black are going to do from here on out. I mean, you lost everything, so why not throw caution to the wind? Let's have some fun. Let's see a little bit more runouts, Cal. I want to see a little bit more of those because, to be honest with you, that's the type of play that really, really, really is feast or famine. That is beyond feast or famine. So I kind of want to see what Paradox are going to do. Fraudwatch, I mean, the last time they attacked this normally, it didn't go too well for them, if I'm being honest with you. It didn't go too well for them at all. A lot of these defensive rounds didn't go too well for Fraudwatch because they were doing the same mistakes that Paradox Black were doing. It's like watching a mirror matchup right now. Like, some of the same mistakes are happening. However, Fraudwatch are able to pull off some more refined tactics that Paradox Black just seemed to lack on their attacking half. But
yeah. I do think it's kind of interesting as well. If you look over at the scoreboard, Paradox, all of the players, it feels like, just have higher kill numbers than the side of Fraudwatch, but the rounds are completely even, right? You got Wumbo being the only real player on Paradox that's been struggling. All the other ones about at a 1.0, and a lot of them have broken that 10 kill marker and near enough to it. The minute down in the round here as well, Paradox not roaming again. So this is just kind of their default go-to here. They want to just sit on the site and hold it for as long as they can. So all of this control has been given up, except for this Wumbo Sulka Boy kind of combo here towards Freezer Stairs, but they never even get checked until B3 starts running them after they're long gone there too. So no real action happening for the first minute and a half here. Just a lot of posturing, getting the hatches open, watching your flanks, and trying to get a push collected here. And I'm a little bit confused as to what Fraudwatch is going for. I get that they got clapped off of the Freezer laundry take the last time they were there, but right now the only claim to this map that they have is, well, meeting hatch. That's it. They're going to try and ying their way down here, but that Warden has once again made an appearance as the one player outside bunker tries to get something going for them as well, but they're going to get challenged out here by Cal, so they're not able to actually walk in freely, and they do end up dying for it, and that's a hard kill to get there. Jose grabs one as well, yinging themselves down the hatch. Sipa Sam trades one back, though, as Nev grabs another. The elbow player walking all the way up, contesting these players who drop the hatch. Shotgun comes out, not able to find quite enough pellets till the very end, and Paradox very cleanly shut out another not well-orchestrated attack from Fraudwatch.
Fraudwatch just wanted to be quick and clean about this, and they were very quick, but not very clean. Paradox Black, as you said, just shutting them out from a very sloppy attack. It seems like Fraudwatch wants to get off the attacking half as soon as possible now at this point so they can get back onto their defenses. Definitely not how you want to play the game, for sure, because that's how you'll lose rounds. Because now, if I'm being honest with you, Paradox Black are 1 point off from winning the whole match and gatekeeping Fraudwatch. So we gotta question, how bad do Fraudwatch want this? Do they want it super bad, or are they just playing to play? I personally think it would be an amazing story if they were to move on from this match and somehow make it to the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. Granted, I don't think it'll happen, but it'd be a cool, interesting story. But the fact that they're just playing to play and they're not playing to win, well, that's more and more just going to show that they're not going to reach that point.
I mean, they're definitely still trying to play to win, man. They've got at least an idea behind it, right? You saw the Ying on the hatch. They had one player out in bunker, too. Like, so they are still thinking of these things. It just feels like they're in uncomfortable territory. Like, that's not something they've done a million times. Like, when you look back on their meeting attack, when they completely squeezed all of the life out of Paradox, that was something beautiful to see, and maybe just a little bit less comfortable on that style of basement attack because they did default towards that freezer laundry. They got clapped off, and they wanted to try something different, so you can't really blame them for wanting to do that, but they are on the defense now here too, so this is their chance to really send us to that 15th round, to send us all the way here. And is that actually real? That's actually a person who trapped themselves up in small tower willingly, and they're able to win a gun duel and get a kill from it. This is ridiculous. Somebody trapped in small tower gets 2. Call him Superman.
God.
This is unbelievable scenes to be apartments if you get that reference from CSGO. And he's still not dead. He's burnt a minute of the clock and 2 enemies plus tagging Habana. This is honestly a little bit unacceptable.
Oh my goodness. And he still wins another one. As you said, they are playing to win, but they are definitely in more comfortable territory on the defense. Playing to win indeed. They're playing a lot more aggressive now, as Nev is just going to be alone on the outside. Probably going to take the minute 50 here to talk about what just happened. And I'll tell you what happened, Nev. They said B3 go kill, and B3 said okay, and rolled over them entirely.
Yeah, definitely something not working there for the side of Paradox. They just couldn't get in at all. They didn't even drone that small tower space. They didn't consider it an opportunity. And I don't think I can blame Nev for trying to take this time out here, but something that is kind of exciting that we don't get to see too often, even when games go to overtime, is that we get to go all the way here in this match. 15 rounds of Rainbow Six Siege. You know, it's a Sunday night. What else are you gonna do with your time other than watch 2 teams here battle for their life? Although one is already dead, but Fraudwatch needs to win this game still if they want to have a chance to make it to playoffs. So getting only 1 point here will eliminate them as well. So there's a chance both of these teams eliminate each other in the same game, which would be hilarious, but kind of sad to see, as we do like our miracle runs here in Xenon.
Oh no, for sure. It is definitely the story of miracle runs that make Siege great. I mean, we've seen miracle runs before. We've seen NIP at SI 2020, their miracle run all the way to the grand finals, contesting SSG all the way to basically match point on 2 maps very convincingly and almost winning the whole thing, going 4 up on Clubhouse. That was a miracle run and a half. And then we have ESM in SI 2022. I mean, they were underdogs. They weren't picked to win anything because of a lot of criticisms coming from the side of Merc. But I mean, Asoki, I mean, yeah, you got to accept the fact that they're taking the timeout. Defenders win due to time, and I'm hoping Paradox Black got a lot of time to talk about what just happened, and hopefully they'll be able to pick up the win and eliminate both teams. Who knows?
Yeah, it's definitely not a good spot to be in for either team here. Fraudwatch has to win a site that they haven't won attacking yet. It's this upstairs space again, and I really, really hope, for the love of God, Fraudwatch, put at least one player at it, get a second angle of pressure that's not just from Master or a single person sitting outside a big window. Please, you've lost 2 rounds upstairs entirely due to Cal and Attic. He got 6 of his, how many's up to now? 6 of his 14 kills are just from playing Attic as a defender. Like, just open up the wall, pressure Attic at all, and then you might see a significantly higher win rate on this attack.
Oh no, for sure. They definitely need to put that pressure there because, as you said, 6 of your 14 are just due to one position that you've played over and over again, and they still haven't made any adaptations. So I want to see that from Fraudwatch. I hope that they do. I believe that they will. I believe that they can move over to that Attic side and put pressure on it. But I'm not seeing a Maverick at all. Oh no. Usually you put the Maverick over on the Attic side, but I'm not really seeing that. I'm seeing a Twitch, Zoph,
gonna be the
think of
same thing, man.
it's gonna
the
be
same
it's
thing.
it's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, and that's what apparently Fraud Watch are doing right now. They're gonna do the same thing. It seems no one over on Attic side, unless B3 is gonna go for something cheeky here. I think he's all the way in the basement. He's gonna look for someone. Nope, never mind. Caster curse happens yet again. Soka Boy picks up the kill onto B3. There goes the the slightest pressure from a different angle that isn't big window or master bedroom.
It's gone.
And now
That's it. Yeah.
it's gone. It's all over. It's all over for that entire push now. They're not going to dedicate any other people to it because they just want to keep bashing their heads against the wall. But
Oh.
Asoke actually going for a really hard push here. Will he be able to pick up Samuel
God, he
off the
doesn't
back?
know.
Yes, he can. Asoke was able to pick up a kill onto Samuel. Valkyrie cameras are still up, but that's a Nitro Cell gone as shots do come raining through the floor trying to find Asoke. He does inevitably get boosted back up to health. Soka Boy.
This is just ridiculous, man. Wumbo knew the guy jumped in the window. You saw him peek it. He peeked right stairs because he heard the vault and he didn't tell his teammate who backs into the bullets. This game has just been a mess on both sides, but at least the man count gets evened out here going into our final execute. But I think it's very, very important for us to highlight that Cal is still completely uncontested in Attic. There's not even an attempt to remove him from that position. So he's going to have to try and shine there, and he gets a Nitro Cell at least to start it off going for themselves here. So Cal once again gives a 7th for himself from just Attic. And these players really need to try and clear him out here. Oh, they've replaced him with Nev. That actually makes a lot of sense, but I have no idea where that shot came from. Oh, it came from Trophy there. So Brucey gets one back as well. These teams just can't decide who wants to win just yet, so they're going to keep throwing utility at each other until one team accidentally wins, is my guess here, as Nev puts his face in a giant hole to throw a smoke canister. Not how you do that. Every player on the side of Fraudwatch gets one kill, and they do manage to finally win out the game. They get 2 points for their troubles, so they still have a chance of making playoffs. A very slim chance since they didn't get 3 points, but they have a chance nonetheless. So congratulations to Fraudwatch for winning out this game.
Oh boy, that was a match to behold. I mean,
that's one way to put it, man.
If I'm being honest with you, that was just, I don't even know where to begin at all. Like, genuinely, like, all right, I want to begin with some goods, right? Some goods.
That's good. Yeah, yeah. Let's just focus on the goods. There was a lot of things that went wrong, but let's just take a look at the goods for that.
The goods, right? Some of the attacks from Fraud Watch were very, very decently thought of, especially in the early rounds. Especially for the meeting site, they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they did insanely well on it. B3 comes in through a different angle. No one expects him. He's behind you. He shoots you in the back of the head, execute style. All of a sudden, the site opens up because now you're focusing on B3. You're trying to do a 180, but nope, you got other people coming from the main breach. So now your entire defensive falls apart. Another thing I want to point out on Fraud Watch's positives was they did a lot of good play around the mistakes that Paradox played on their defensive halves. The attic presence that was seen throughout the whole game. Every single team used attic presence. The flanks from whenever Nomad got killed super early. I mean, the misplays from the side of Paradox Black were being exploited perfectly by Fraud Watch. But then you slowly but surely start to reach these overtime rounds, and then it just turns into a huge caboodle of nonsense. And it, I don't know anymore at that point. But I will say, Paradox Black, they did put up a good fight. I will give Paradox Black that. They put up a good fight. They were in it to the end. They never gave up. They stayed in it the whole time.
Yeah, and they can still play spoiler too, I think, is another thing they have going for themselves. They have one more match still. We do have another week of competition left to finalize those teams that are making playoffs, and they still can win a game here and really mess with the scoreboard. Let me check really quick. I want to know who they play. They will be playing Superlight. Okay, never mind. Superlight's already qualified, so their next game has absolutely no implications on who makes it or not. But hey, it's a chance for them to show off just a little bit, to see what they actually have themselves made of there. But yeah, so it's good to see them give at least some light, right? Going all the way to 15 rounds is not an easy task. Right? You have to be good enough at the game, or at least on par with your opponents, to make something like that happen. So it's good to see that they were able to show at least some of what they had in their pocket here. It is a little bit depressing that they go out on this note. It's not a great note to go out on, but hey, you got yourself a point. You got an overtime appearance finally, and you got yourself a good appearance on stream. You didn't look too bad throughout the entire game, so they have that at least going for them. We're going to head off to a quick break, and when we come back, I believe we will have an interview with one of the players. So yeah, don't go too far away. We're going to have an interview coming up soon.
If I could slow down the clock, I would. When I'm with you, I just feel so good. Every day, every single night. So for now, let's just take our time. Know that I got you by my side. Tell me how you ready for the ride. Here we go, making love the night. So let's just take our
Just another sunny day in Southern California. It's where the people came to play. Don't let them transform you. Come and see what you've been missing on a little slice of heaven. It's the only place we're living. It's that West Coast point of view. Easy when it's always summertime fun. You and I carefree attitude. Who cares what the people think? It's been turning kinda gray in Southern California, but I'm allergic to the rain. What happened to euphoria?
All right, welcome back. A little bit of a different face here. We have me
not missed. We don't have Ricky with us anymore. He had to go. Anyway, we are joined by ISO for our interview, so welcome in, ISO.
Yo, how's it going?
Now that was your first win in Xenon. Now it wasn't when you wanted it to be, but now that you do have that win under your belt, how do you feel?
I mean, it is what it is. We needed to win in regulation to make playoffs, I believe. So that'll be it for us. I mean, we'll play the last game, obviously, but that pretty much ends our season. It was unfortunate. We had to forfeit one of the games because we didn't have players put together, and that took us down another spot in the standings. So, and then our other game that we played, we had like 2 subs at the same time. It's not been an ideal season for us.
Okay, well, that actually leads into one question that I want to ask you. You say this obviously hasn't been an ideal season for you. I have been in that same positions before where, you lose a bunch of games and it just doesn't go well for you. You have to find subs and whatnot, but you obviously were able to keep the mental fortitude for this whole map, and you were able to come out with the dub inevitably. What what was keeping you mentally stable throughout the whole match that you were like, all right, we can win this, we got this, we're gonna do our best, we're gonna give our all, no matter how bad we're doing in the season, we're just gonna go out there and show everyone what we can do, and you did exactly that. What what allows you to do that?
Well, I don't like to lose, especially to players that I know are not as good as me. So I was not going to lose that game. I, my team felt the same way, so we just made sure we focused up for those last couple overtime rounds and closed it out.
Understandable.
Now, you did mention that that you are eliminated, which yes, that is true. However, if a team does forfeit or disband, you guys will be in that first spot in. I mean, that's not really what you want to have to bank on. I mean, I don't feel as though you guys should have been in this situation to begin with. I feel like you guys are a lot better than you showed. But now that you're in this situation, are you guys going to watch the games more? Are you going to pay attention a little bit more? Or are you guys going to kind of like just try to have fun?
Honestly, we just have fun in general. We don't really scrim ever. We just kind of just play the game for fun. We pretty much all just get on game day and play. I couldn't tell you the last time we scrimmed a map, so
I respect
it's all
that.
just kind of for fun.
I respect that.
Okay, well, that leads me to another question. So, obviously, you just told me that you don't practice. Um, if you don't mind me picking into a little bit of the personal reasons why, is it what prevents you from practicing as a team, especially when it comes to scrimmaging or dry runs? Is it just lack of schedule, lack of players?
I mean, schedules are weird, like scheduling conflicts, and yeah, I don't know. Personally, I know I have a really weird schedule. Like it's sometimes hard for me to make it to the games. Like for example, the game we had to forfeit was because I wasn't able to make it. So um,
I gotcha.
we do have weird schedules, but also it's just like it's not like a huge deal to us. We just like we just kind of play for fun because like don't like to play against cheaters in rank, so it's something different, you know.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
I understand that. So I am going to open the floor to you. Congratulations on the win one more time. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before, but if I didn't, there is your congratulations for the win. I'm going to open the floor to shout out on your teammates, whoever you want, your social medias, plug your social medias real quick before we do head off.
Uh, I don't really have anyone to shout out. I'm just kind of sad that game went 8-7. Those guys were really fucking bad. Just wanted to say that, but yeah, that's all I really got. That game should not have been as close as it was. But one of our subs hadn't played the game in 3 months. A little bit shaky. But yeah, that's really all I got. So
Yeah, that won't really help you out there now. But thank you for coming in again. Congratulations on the win. We do hope we get to see you here. I believe it's next Sunday that you guys play.
yeah, I
So
think so.
we hope we get to see you guys here then. You guys play, I believe it's Homeland Academy as well, or
I
maybe
think
not.
I think it's
No,
Project
let me check
Madness.
that. Yes, you play Project Madness. I had the wrong week. Regardless, congratulations on the win. thank you for coming in. We do hope we get to see you next week. However, that does end our broadcast for tonight, but we do have one more game tomorrow. We have Super Light versus Paradox Black, so make sure that you tune in tomorrow night at 9 p.m. There is no early game tomorrow. Once again, it is only the 9 p.m. game, so again, tune in tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. See you then.